cause you're in the driver's seat. Ignore the buzz, keep your eyes on the.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
There's danger out there. It lurks on highways and quiet neighborhood streets. It's more likely to kill you than a shark, and more terrifying than the biggest snake. Distracted driving claims lives every day. Every notification, swipe, social post, video, or selfie while driving risks your life. So while you might think public speaking or the zombie apocalypse is scary, what's really terrifying and even deadly is distracted driving. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Get ready for July 4th with early savings at Lowe's. Right now, get up to 40% off select major appliances and get an additional 10% off 2 or more select major appliances. Plus, get 3 Stay Green or premium 2 cubic foot mulch bags for just $10. These deals are coming in hot. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 6/25. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay, and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
For more than 75 years, University of Maryland Global Campus has given you the opportunity to build your next success. Choose from more than 135 degree and certificate programs in career-relevant fields like business, healthcare, data analytics, cybersecurity, and more. Plus, we offer 100% online and hybrid courses, personalized advising, and lifetime career services. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports. Wake up with Fescoe and Dusty from 6 to 10. Hang out with Cody and Gold from 10 until 2. And on your way home, tune in for The Drive with Carrington Harrison. Can't listen in the car? Listen live or on demand with the Odyssey app. And watch all the shows on YouTube or your favorite social media platforms. Your home for Chiefs football. Your home for Royals baseball. Your home for Kansas City sports.
This is Michael Waka from the
Fan.
Kansas City Royals, and you're listening to 96.5 The Fan.
KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
To the finish line of the week here on 96.5 The Fan. It is Fescoe and Dusty on a beautiful Friday. I am Bob Fescoe. That is Mac J. Morey on the other side today. He's co-hosting because Dusty took the day off to go golfing. Good for him, man. He needs the day off. He deserves the day off. And so he's going to go out there and hit them all over the fairway that they're not going to land in the fairway, though. You know, this going to be to the left of the fairway, to the right of the fairway, overshoot the green. And he'll complain about his golf game coming back. That's the best about, you know, him taking the day off to go play golf. He will not hit the ball well today. He will be very upset about that,
upset,
right?
Even though he hits the ball way better than you and I.
Oh, God, yes.
Of hitting it.
The golf, to me, is like the bane of my existence. And people have said, did you ever play golf? And I did, you know, like when I first got out of college and moved to Texas, Mac, we had like this golf course down there called Starkey Park is what it was called in Seguin, Texas. Yeah, shout out to the Starkey family down there, right? And it was lined with pecan trees, so you'd walk the course and crack fresh pecans. It was very nice.
Oh, that's cool.
It was like $500 for the year, all you could play with a cart.
Wow.
Yeah, so we were out there all the time playing. Never got good. Ever got good. Never, ever got good. at golf. I just could never figure it out. But we played every day, boy, and I was terrible at that thing, right? And so it got to the point where it's like, I'm just not having fun doing this. And I remember the last time I played, Matt Castle had his golf tournament. That tells you how long ago it was. Come out and play. Fine. Went out and played, threw the clubs away after that. That was like 2011, maybe. 2011, I think, is the last time. I think I picked up a golf club and went out there and kind of, hit the thing right. It's just not my thing, right? It's just something I know people love doing it and whatnot, but like it's just not my deal.
Well, it takes time.
It's
a lot of work.
And once I had kids, I said, look, I'm not going to spend this time on the weekends doing this. I want to spend time with the family. And so that's kind of another reason why I put the golf clubs away, because I have 2 kids now, and it was more important for me to be there with them and do all that kind of stuff than try to figure out how to hit this ball, because I am no good at it. But at least I surrendered and knew, right?
You knew it was, at least, that's a really wholesome excuse, at least. For me, it's just, I just suck at it.
Yeah.
I'm just not good. I
there
don't want
is that
to
too.
exert that energy and time and slash a little money. But yeah, for me, I've played, maybe I can count on one hand how many times I've played, but I imagine Dusty will shoot him straight today. He'll be all right. I mean, I'd say by 10 a.m., by the time we're ending up over under 4.5 surf sides, I imagine he's right around that line.
Oh, you think 4.5 surf sides by 10 o'clock this morning?
What do you think? They're starting at 8, maybe less, maybe it's 2.5.
Oh, it starts at 8 o'clock this morning?
So
okay.
maybe it was earlier.
Right.
I can't remember.
Well, either way, that's a good number. I'll take the over on that.
Okay,
as well.
there we go.
Yeah, those are so easy to drink.
Yes,
I mean,
they are, man.
I'm going out on the boat with Ralph a little bit later on today. Yeah, there's going to be surf sides in that cooler, because they're just, it's perfect for the spring, for the summer, and for the hot months. And so get on after it today. How'd the hedge trimming go yesterday? You get all the bushes trimmed?
Got it done,
yeah,
man.
Good.
You were right. That job kind of sucks.
Yeah,
it's a lot of work.
Yep.
But it was good. You were also correct. Tarp is going to be the go-to. I'm going to have to go purchase a tarp, because that sucked, cleaning up all the little clippings. I raked them together in piles.
Yeah, but still.
No, it's still, and my back's hurting, and it's the UV's probably over 10. It's 100 degrees.
Are you a teenage girl? I mean, oh my God, I had no idea the UV mattered until I had teenage daughters. Every 10 minutes.
This week.
I mean, every 10 minutes. The UV's going to be 11 today. The UV's going to be 8 today. Does anybody else have, is it every freaking teenage daughter who's telling you what the UV is?
Yeah, I get this from Hannah.
So you do?
Yeah, I get this from Hannah, yeah.
When did the UV become a thing that people looked at all the time? I know we've talked about it, but I mean, it was never, nobody ever walked around when we were growing up going, the UV 7 today, or, but I mean, they get up in the morning, and before they even get on Snapchat, it's like, let me go to see what the UV's going to be like today. UV's 11, get out of the way!
Let's go!
Boom!
Got a tan!
Got a tan! I was looking at this stuff. But anyway, so the UV was very high yesterday, teenage man.
Yes, it was. But it worked out. We got it done. Looks good. It was. I sent the before. I'll have to show you the before and after. I sent it to Dusty because he let me very kindly use his hedge trimmer, because I don't have those.
Very good.
Yeah, no, it's good. We got it done.
So good. Yeah, moving forward, and you get it done during the week, and you don't have to worry about doing it on the weekend too. And that frees you up to go out there and do whatever the hell it is you want to do this weekend.
I took your advice on this job very early on. Of like, hey man, try and leave your Fridays open, because you get off here, you kind of get a 3-day weekend ish. You can kind of get that feeling from that, because you don't want Friday after this to just have to do stuff.
No, you don't go home and mow the lawn or do all that stuff. So you can knock it out on a Thursday and whatnot, and take care of business, and not have to worry about it on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. It's even better. It is a perfect way to get things done. Day 2 of the NBA draft happened last night. My friend Kurt Nelson was texting me yesterday, because we were talking about, like, you had said something, and Hunter Norzad, who played at KU, is that his name?
Yeah, right. Dickinson.
That guy, he didn't get drafted.
He did not get drafted.
So you were right. You were foreshadowing it a little bit yesterday. You said, "Wow, Hunter Dickinson, 2 rounds of a draft, didn't get drafted." Little did we know the second round didn't happen until yesterday, and whatnot. And so he got signed a 2-way contract with New Orleans or something like that. So that's like G League and one after another. And so we were talking about that yesterday. My friend Kurt Nelson, the Royal Hall of Fame, texted me, because I don't think the second round has happened yet. And I'm like, oh yeah, it hasn't happened yet. Good call out of you, Kurt. He goes, but it's not going to really change our viewing plans for tonight, right? No, of course not. I didn't sit down and watch the second round of the draft yesterday, but Kurt brought up a really good question, and this is kind of something I think we can look at for all of sports too, right? Not just the NBA draft. He goes, how many of these people picked today in the second round will have more NBA minutes than you and I?
True.
And so I asked my NBA expert, Mac, how many of these second-round guys are going to see more NBA action than you and I in the NBA? Because we're at 0 minutes. There's no way we're getting one. No chance, no way, no hell that we're getting one. How many of these guys that were drafted in that second round yesterday are actually going to see playing time in the NBA? what, 5 of them maybe?
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe 10. Maybe you get a third of the 30 that see time in the actual NBA. Yeah, maybe 10. The depth of college talent's getting more, and the draft is a little weirder with more European players going in the first round that sometimes don't work out. Maybe there's 10, but you're right, dude. It's not a lot.
It's not a lot. You were going through the list of like second rounders, and you're like, you had 2 guys, and then you're like, there's some old dude from like when you were growing up. It ended up being like Tracy McGrady.
It was Gilbert Arenas. I think.
Gilbert Arenas, that's who it was. Yes. Gilbert Arenas, who's not that old, but there was like 3 guys that you could come up with right away that got action, in the second round of this draft. And so why not just make it all free agency after the first round?
I completely agree.
And just let these guys go where they want to go. And maybe it's a better fit for them too. And maybe you can get more out of these guys, right? Like if you're a guy, that's a shooting guard and you get drafted by Memphis, and they don't need a real shooting guard, but you were a better fit for, let's say, I don't know, the Lakers.
Yeah.
It's like it's hurting your career as much as it's hurting the team's career in all of that. And so I think at the times you get late in these rounds, and obviously Veach has had success late in the rounds with some of these 7th-round picks and whatnot, but he's also had success in free agency with some of these rookies. And I wouldn't mind cutting down the NBA draft to just one big night of the first round. The baseball draft has been cut way back. The baseball draft used to be, up until like 4 years ago, people sat in a conference room around a speakerphone, and they would just go from team to team to team. And it was like on a Tuesday afternoon. And when the baseball draft ended? After how many rounds? When everybody said they were done. and so I think they've reduced it now to like 40 rounds or something like that, of the baseball draft. But that's still a lot, right? Like, why not just do it the right way, have a couple of big-time rounds, and then let everybody else be free agents and let them use the relationships that they've created during their amateur years and whatnot to turn that into what team they want to play for, because certain teams have better scouts. They form better relationships with players. They become better fits. They really like this guy. Then all of a sudden, somebody that they've never talked to drafts them. I mean, there was somebody who was drafted in the NBA draft, I think it was. He goes, I had no idea they were even interested in me, right? And I can't remember who it was now. It was somebody that was taken top 10 maybe. They go, I had no idea they were even interested. They'd never called me. And so as you're being, kind of scouted and whatnot, the scouts, the coaches, they come alongside you. They're recruiting you and doing all that stuff. You form relationships and whatnot. And then you get drafted by somebody you don't know. And I'd rather go and play for this guy who's formed this relationship with me, would probably make my career better, and in turn would make your team better. And so I get why we have the draft, but I think it's becoming a little bit antiquated and maybe can be better served in all sports by having the ability for after, in the NFL, if you want to do 4 rounds of an NFL draft or something, 2 nights or whatever. Baseball, you want to do 10 rounds. Basketball, you want to do 1. Hockey, you want to do 1. And then everybody who wasn't drafted then has the ability to sign where they feel comfortable. And I think that would get more guys to the big league level, the higher level, faster, because they're more comfortable and in a better situation than what they're normally in.
Well, and I think for those guys that you're talking about at that level, that second round tier of talent, it's really important that they go to a situation where they have a good relationship or are in use, because if there's a year or 2, if you're lucky, that pass by and you're not used, you're not implemented into the team or looking good on the G League or really used in the role that you thought you could flourish in the NBA, you're done. It could be over.
Right.
Like, that's how quick it is for these guys. They're not a first-round top 15 pick who's going to get 2 or 3 years and get work and get hope and, he's developing, he's a younger guy. These second-round picks are 23, 24 years old a lot of the time. Like, they need to get in a good situation and have a good relationship. And, another thing about the NBA draft is, one, I don't know why we're doing the NBA draft 3 days after the NBA Finals. That, to me, is preposterous. But the second round, I didn't watch, but I'm looking at Shams, with the 35th pick, with the 30th, so I'm just seeing these names, pop up on Twitter. I know these names more than I did a lot of the first round guys.
Isn't that crazy? Because they're all the college kids
the college
now,
guys
right?
that I watched for the last 4 years. Why is that happening? That's another problem with the NBA, and that's not the draft. That's just systematically like college and the NBA. We've got a systemic issue here. Why are these the premier players in March Madness? The guys hitting these shots that I've watched the last 3 years. It's interesting.
Yeah, it really is. And it goes to show you maybe where they view the level of college basketball compared to what's going on in Europe right now, too. And that's the other thing. Like, college basketball continues to go down, down, down. European basketball continues to go up, up, up. I mean, we saw it in the Olympics this past year.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, it was the first time we were really challenged, and really challenged as a country since, well, the Dream Team 2 or whoever it was blew it years ago. But you know what I'm saying? Like, we're not normally challenged on the basketball court. We're getting challenged now. And that's because there's great talent all over the globe. It's become such a global sport, which baseball has become such a great global sport as well. And look, the NFL's trying to become a great global sport right now. And soccer's a great global sport. And hockey's a global sport. Really, the only thing that's not, it's the NFL from a true global standpoint, right?
They're trying to change that as
quick as they possibly can. And it's
they
working.
see the writing on the wall.
Yeah, of course they do. They know exactly what's going on, and it's working for them. So that's my little quick fix on how to do it, because I mean, we're seeing in baseball too. What do we see now? 6 first round draft picks from last year already up at the big league level now in Major League Baseball. Picks 2, 4, 6, and 8, and 14 are already up at the big league level from last year. That's awesome.
That's huge.
That's so good, and so that's what you want to see as a fan. You want to see these guys drafted and right up to the big league level and helping your ball club out. And so you get excited about some of these players, and then they go to the G League, and you never hear from them again. And so just let guys sign where they want after a certain number of rounds. I think you'd have more success stories that way than you would by just selecting players in a draft. So coming up here on 96.5 The Fan on Fescoe in the Morning, add Ben Roethlisberger to the dumb list. We'll tell you why next.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Jonathan India here, and you're listening to Fescoe and Dusty on your home for Royals baseball, 96.5 The Fan.
Well, guys, I'll tell you what, summer is a season for romance, vacations, beach nights, rooftop dinners, and spontaneous weekend getaways. But if you're dealing with erectile dysfunction, it can feel like you're missing out on what should be the best part of summer. Heartland Men's Health, though, has treatments that work when the pills or herbals fail. They have treatments with success rates well over 90%, and some treatments can even have you last an hour or more. Heartland Men's Health is successfully treating men right here in Kansas City. So what I want you to do is schedule a consult with Heartland Men's Health today. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes a medical consult with a licensed medical provider, a T and PSA test, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit's free. They have an expert staff, and if you're like a lot of men, you could be having sex the day after your appointment. Plus, they have 3 convenient locations for you: Overland Park, Independence between Blue Springs and Lee Summit, and their new office in North Kansas City. So call them today, 844-447-6600, or visit heartlandmenshealth.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Which teams are coming out ahead after the pro hockey draft tonight? Head over to Twin Peaks for a seared-to-order burger. Then kick back and watch as each team adds new game changers to their rosters. Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Granger. Granger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Introducing the new Dell AI PC, powered by the Intel Core Ultra processor. It helps do your busy work for you, so you can fast forward through editing images, designing presentations, generating code, debugging code, summarizing meeting notes, finding files, managing your schedule, responding to Jim's long emails, leaving all the time in the world for the things you actually want to do. No offense, Jim. Get a new Dell AI PC starting at $749.99 at Dell.com/AI-PC. How those ahead stay ahead.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot, and sometimes it's like grrr.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh yeah.
Then we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the grrr.
Not with Fix Finder. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Lowe's knows how to set off your July 4th with savings. Right now, buy one, get one free on select one-coat coverage interior paint via Visa gift card rebate. Plus, get 2 select 2 or 2.5 quart red, white, and blue annuals for just $10. Hurry, these July 4th deals won't last long. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 7/9. Selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for more details.
Robsite Ford. Non-commissioned staff, low prices, best trade-ins, and the biggest selection. Visit robsite.com.
When it comes to buying a car, simple wins. Robsite Ford has the inventory, the trade values, and the non-commissioned team that puts you first. No pressure, just 4.8 stars on Google for a reason. ROBSIGHT.com.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Trouble in downtown, 71 northbound stacked up all through downtown from I-70 on the south end up towards I-29 interchange, where there's an accident 29 northbound before the Paseo, blocking 2 right lanes. Alan Carr, 96.5 The Fan, traffic.
All right, rolling through a Friday here on 96.5. The Fan. Should be a great weekend for everybody in Kansas City. Get out and enjoy the weekend right before the 4th of July holiday. I'll be off next week. We'll be off most of the week next week. Well, not most of. I guess we have Thursday and Friday off, but I'll be off all week next week. Dusty off today. Mac in producing and hanging out with us. That's Billy. He's down in Oklahoma City. I don't know why I almost said Tulsa on that one. I'm Bob Fescoe here on 96.5 The Fan. Your home for everything when it comes to the Kansas City Royals, Chiefs, and all your stadium news. We'll get you some of that coming up a little bit later on because there was some news yesterday that nobody should have been surprised about, but we saw some people were surprised about the news that took place yesterday. So we will get more into that as the morning rolls along here on 96.5 The Fan. Ben Roethlisberger, you know, sometimes you wake up in the morning, Mac, and I don't know, you've had these mornings, I'm sure already. You go, man, what's happening today? What's going on? Is there something out there that's big that we can talk about? Is there something great? Did something happen overnight? Kind of my routine in the morning is the alarm goes off, I roll over, I turn that off. I try to get up before it goes off so I don't wake my wife. I'm very chivalrous that way, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's very nice. But that also shows you, like, your body's just used to getting up at that time. So. Yep. Whatnot. So usually today didn't work that way. It went off. She got mad. Right here we sit. And
Friday,
so yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And Friday is a tougher day to get up. But also it's a great day because it's Friday. FriYAY. Yay! Friday is the father of Thursday Junior. Thursday Junior is Friday Junior. However they want to say. But anyway, so I get up every morning. I look about what's going on, what we're going to talk about. You know, did somebody die overnight? Did something happen overnight? That's big. 99% of the time, nothing really happens overnight, right? And you just go about your day. And so it's kind of where it was this morning. I stopped, tried to get a coffee this morning at a local fast food establishment. I was the only person there. So I had to pull out of the drive-through line. Went over to the Casey's, got myself an iced tea, meandered up Metcalf and got here a little bit, later than I normally do on a Friday because of the drive-through snafu. And whatnot. I didn't pay for anything, so I just got out. I just wanted a cup of coffee, man.
Yeah,
like today was one of those days. I just wanted a cup of coffee. I don't have 6 minutes to sit here. I really
what are we doing?
Pour the coffee and let's move on.
Only one here.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, all right, we're out. And so I meandered up Metcalf. I'm like, gosh, dude, nothing really big hit. It must be, getting to that 4th of July holiday. Everybody's going on vacation. Nobody's doing anything stupid or anything like that. And then Ben Roethlisberger comes to the rescue and has this comment about Patrick Mahomes versus Aaron Rodgers. And he said this on his own podcast, okay? It's the Footballin' Podcast with Ben Roethlisberger.
Nice.
Yes, Footballin', spelled Pittsburghese, Footballin'. Footballin' with Ben Roethlisberger, right? And he says, I would take Aaron in his prime over Patrick now. Patrick Mahomes is just now entering out of his prime, I think. He'll go down as another arguable GOAT. I think Aaron in his prime is better. And that's Ben Roethlisberger talking about new Steelers quarterback Aaron Rodgers versus Patrick Mahomes. How can you possibly say that Patrick Mahomes is entering out of the prime of his career? Patrick Mahomes is turning 30. And as we've talked about for the last couple of weeks right here on the show, Mac, is like guys get to their 30s at the quarterback position and then they really take off because I forget who I was talking about
or two the other day about the quarterback position in the NFL. But you've got to be very smart to be an effective quarterback in this league. You can't be an idiot and achieve success at the quarterback position. It's not a position for dummies. It really is. You've got to be smart. Look at all the successful quarterbacks. They're pretty much geniuses out there on that field. Patrick Mahomes is in that category. Rodgers is in that category. Hell, Roethlisberger was in that category.
Oh, for sure.
Like, you have to know what's going on. And
if you don't, you last a year. You're Cam Newton.
You're
right?
Cam Newton, right?
Yep.
Yeah, like you like playing the quarterback position is so much more about studying and learning the book learning side of things than it is about the athletic ability. Everybody playing quarterback in the NFL has athletic ability. That's why you're playing quarterback in the NFL, right? Do you have the ability to study, become smarter, and learn every single day? For a lot of guys, the answer is no, right? They just don't want to deal with that. That's not in their lexicon. They move on and they find other jobs. The ones that are really good, though, learn over the years. And the one thing that I know from being older now is that you don't know anything. And the older you get, the less you know, right? The less you understand that you know about life. And so the older you get, though, but you do accumulate more knowledge, but you also realize you don't know everything. And so as you age, you get smarter. Patrick Mahomes is a smarter quarterback today than he was the day when he walked into the league. Is he as vibrant? Is he as young? No, he's 5 years, 6 years, 7 years older than when he first walked in the door. But he's a lot smarter, man. He knows what's going to happen now because he's seen it. He has those years of experience. And the more experience that you have, the more you can see these things coming. The more you can see, I'm not sold on the Royals this year because the White Sox aren't going to be as bad as they were a year ago. Or you're relying on everybody to have career years again. That's really hard to do, but best of luck to you in that category, right? So you learn things, you see things ahead of time, and you kind of know what's coming. Like Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees, all these guys got really good after the age of 30, right? Really good after the age of 30. And Dusty was playing something from Phillip Rivers the other day. And like Phillip Rivers is like telling the defense what they were doing wrong. Like he knew exactly what
I do know that
they,
clip.
you know, what they were doing. That's how smart he is. That didn't come when he came out of the womb, and that wasn't something that somebody taught him on the sidelines. That's something he learned over time. And that's why I think when you sit here and say, as you know, Ben Roethlisberger did, that Aaron Rodgers is better and Patrick Mahomes is entering out of his prime, it's just a very contradictory statement because Aaron Rodgers is much older than Patrick Mahomes. And if you're going to use the age and out of his prime, Aaron Rodgers has been out of his prime for a decade and a half then, according to Ben Roethlisberger's logic, right? According to his logic. So I don't think Patrick Mahomes is entering out of his prime. I think it's completely opposite. I think we're entering into the prime now of Patrick Mahomes. And if he is going to be considered long-term as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, this is the year where it really starts. This is his 30 years on earth. This is year 30. This is where you said, okay, the 20s are gone. Hangovers hurt a little bit more when you turn 30. Takes a little bit longer to recover. You start doing things a little bit differently once you hit that 30. Then 40 happens, and oh my God. And so you drink on a Friday, and you're still feeling it on Wednesday. You know, that type of stuff. Like that goes on. That's real life. But Patrick Mahomes is getting smarter. He's getting more mature, and he's getting better at understanding the game. And that's why I think now his career is going to take off on a trajectory because he also has a lot of healthy guys around him as well, which he didn't have last year. And I think that's another big misconception about Patrick Mahomes. When was the last time he played with a healthy offense? You know, when was the last time he had those weapons around him that were healthy and that were ready to go? And I'm talking about the left tackle as well. That's a weapon. And if you don't have that left tackle, you can't get the job done. And through it all, Patrick Mahomes has led his team to 3 straight Super Bowls. And you want to tell me that he's out of his prime and he's heading out of his prime after doing all of that over the last 3 years with literally nobody around him?
Nonsense. I mean, there's just so much to unpack with this. I mean, first off, Aaron Rodgers won back-to-back MVPs 5 or 6 years ago, his mid-30s.
Yeah.
He was excellent. You know, Ben Roethlisberger, yourself, I just think you'd take a look back at your own career before you spat out this nonsense. You were 32 years old, you threw for 5,000 yards. You were 36 years old, you threw for 5,200 yards, the most yards you've ever thrown. But your best 2 seasons in your career came when you were 32 and 36 years old, Ben. And that was, you know, it's a great example in this context because one of the most physically, I don't know if I want to use the word gifted, but as far as just advantageous to the defense, to the opposition, Big Ben used his physicality early on in his career a lot.
Oh, yeah.
His size, his ability to push a defender off, create space, literally stiff-arming someone and throwing a 30-yard dime. Those things went away in his 30s, but he had the mental ability to not be able to have to use that all the time, and it created 5,000-yard seasons for him. You talk about Patrick Mahomes. Sure, statistically, is 5,050 going to happen again? I don't know. I think he's had better seasons since that already, and I think he's going to continue to get better. I mean, we talk about just simplistically that Bills AFC Championship game. What happens? The Bengals say in the second half, we're going to drop 8, we're going to rush 3 the whole time. Good luck. Mahomes was seeing color. He had no idea what to do, right? He had no idea what to do. That would never happen now because mentally he's beat that a million times over. So physically, I think Patrick Mahomes still has 3 or 4 years of being in that elite, or right under elite class as far as quarterbacks are concerned. And mentally, he's far and above anyone in the league right now.
Yeah, you bring up the mental side of things and what he would have done differently. I guarantee you we win that first AFC Championship game if that's Patrick Mahomes at 30 versus Patrick Mahomes at 23.
Yes.
There's no doubt in my mind he doesn't take that sack before the half and we get a field goal there and we beat the New England Patriots in that AFC Championship game. That I guarantee you that happens. And that's what happens with age. You learn from experiences in life, in sports, in your job, and whatever it is. The older you get, the longer you do something, the more you learn and the more you have a background of knowledge that you've seen this before and go, oh, I've been here before. I know what to do in this type of situation. I know it's the end of the half. I can't take a sack here. I could do anything but take a sack in this situation because a sack knocks us out of field goal range, and we may have the best kicker that ever did live, in Harrison Butker. We got to give him an opportunity to put some points on the board going into halftime. Took the sack, didn't get the opportunity to do that. They lost the game. Everybody wants to blame D Ford. But if Patrick Mahomes with more experience, Patrick Mahomes in 2025 doesn't take a sack there, throws that ball away, they get a field goal, they win that football game. That's what experience does, right? And I want to kind of piggyback a little bit on what you said about you thought he's had better seasons since 50 and 5,000.
For sure.
And I'm glad you say that because I know you're a fantasy guy, you're a stats guy, and a lot of people don't look at the big picture. That 11-5 season or 11-6 season 2 years ago when they won the Super Bowl and Kadarius Toney couldn't line up off sides and Patrick Mahomes was able to not only overcome other teams, but overcome his own team making these blatant mistakes and not getting the job done really tells you what kind of quarterback Patrick Mahomes is. To me, it's not the 50 and 5,000. Those are gaudy. Those are bedazzled jeans. And by the way, if you're still wearing the bedazzled jeans, give them to Goodwill, man. Seriously, get rid of those. I know you bought those Affliction jeans in 2009 and they cost you $100. Rough. You've gotten your wear out of them. You know what I'm talking about, right? You see those Affliction jeans. Like dudes still think they're looking sharp by putting those Affliction jeans on and rolling to the tavern on a Friday night. Ain't a good look, bro. Like, it really isn't. I know you invested a lot of money, but those are the consequences, man.
Wasn't great in 09 either.
They really weren't. No,
They weren't great.
they really weren't. I remember that Super Bowl in Tampa. Anybody who wore them when I was with my guys from St. Louis, Jay Randolph Jr., rest in peace, and Joe De Niro, we dubbed them Super Bowl jeans because every podunk radio reporter and radio host was wearing those jeans.
Really?
They're like, everybody's got their Super Bowl jeans on. They literally went out and spent $100 or however much on a pair of Affliction jeans, and they're still rolling around with them. They're out. Ladies, the bedazzled jeans are out as well, too.
No,
Stop bedazzling. How did we get here? How did we get to
I
bedazzled
don't
jeans?
know.
Patrick Mahomes.
I
forget what I was talking about now.
Patrick Mahomes, it's a bedazzled stat you were talking about.
Oh, yeah, the stat's bedazzled. It's beautiful. It's 50 and 5,000. But what he did to overcome everything around him and lead his team to a Super Bowl when he didn't have the best weapons, when he didn't have the best offensive line, and still willed them there. That's better than 50 and 5,000. So I think you are right about that. Like, number-wise, no. Overall performance, willing team to victory. Like, I don't know how many other quarterbacks could have overcome what Patrick Mahomes truly overcame in that season when they went 11-6 and won that Super Bowl over San Francisco. That was a miraculous run. It really was. He made so many people's mistakes erase and disappear because of how good he is and how smart he is as a quarterback in this league. And so that's why I think Ben Roethlisberger's comments are so misguided when he sits there and he says Patrick Mahomes is entering out of his career. Maybe if he was a running back, I would agree with you at the age of 30, but quarterbacks are different than any other player in all of sports. 30 is the beginning of their prime if they are a GOAT, and Patrick Mahomes is in that GOAT category.
I mean, 2 years ago, the one that you mentioned, when the injuries were there and the wide receiver core didn't have depth, the O-line had issues, right? 5,200 yards, 41 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. And the ability to enhance a team's strength is a great ability that a quarterback can have. But the ability to overcome a team's weaknesses is what separates you from the pack. And Mahomes has been able to do that better than any other quarterback right now and possibly of all time, because we've seen him win with weaknesses on certain units, whether it's the O-line or defensive cornerback, whatever it is. He's been able to overcome those things, maybe like other guys haven't. I think this is a great text from the 816. We also win that Cincinnati AFC Championship game because I doubt he runs 30 yards backwards and takes a sack. There was a terrible sack that Mahomes took in the second half. You talk about the end of the first half where Mahomes throws it behind the end zone to Tyreek Hill on that little screen. Of course, a fight ensues, anger ensues, all those things happen. You could argue that was a low IQ play from Mahomes as well.
Sure.
No timeouts, not a lot of time in the clock. That needs to be a throw in the end zone, incomplete pass, or a touchdown. Those are your two options.
Right.
Can't be a throw behind the line. I don't know if he does that now. I don't even know if he lets that play call go through. Maybe he says, you know what, Andy, let's not get too greedy. Maybe let's take the field goal. Maybe that's probably a little, I don't know if Mahomes does that. He loves points. But either way, I think we've watched the mental maturation of Mahomes before our eyes, and it's been so much fun.
It really has been, and that's the other thing about Patrick Mahomes. We have witnessed every moment of his career and every step of growth. And I remember, after that first year where they went to the AFC Championship game, and Andy did one of those, well, he's got some stuff to work on in the offseason. We all looked around and goes, what? 50 and 5,000, what does he have to work on? But that's the mental side of the game. And it's not necessarily working on it. It's just experiencing it and having these experiences, failing, understand why you failed, and never let that happen again. Have we seen Patrick Mahomes go behind the line of scrimmage since that play?
Exactly.
Have we seen him take a really bad sack and knock him out of field goal range? No. You make mistakes, and then you learn from those mistakes. We all make mistakes. Every single person is going to make mistakes. Do you learn from those mistakes? And Patrick Mahomes has clearly showed that he has learned from those mistakes. And so that was interesting comments by Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
All right, Star Bonds extended over in the state of Kansas. I think I told you 3 weeks ago, because I have it in my notes right now of one of the people that I talked to, viability to extend Star Bonds to December of 2025 in the state of Kansas. And so, look, this was a Chiefs-only, I believe, extension yesterday for the Star Bonds. We didn't see anything about the Royals, and what that means to tell you is I think the Royals are closer than people realize with their situation in the state of Kansas and getting that thing done at 119th and Null. And so I still do believe that's where the Royals are going to end up. And it was interesting yesterday because, the interesting part for me wasn't the fact that the Star Bonds were extended, because I told you all that was going to happen at some point when it revolves around the Kansas City Chiefs. What was really kind of like surprising, surprising to me was the Missouri reaction about this. And I continue to go back to saying, why do I have more information than people that are leading these states, especially the state of Missouri, about what's going on? Because somebody called it a gut punch yesterday for the state of Missouri. And I said, wait a second here. How's this a gut punch for the state of Missouri? Anybody in the know knew that this was going to be a possibility and knew that the Chiefs were going to ask kind of for this extension. And that means they're making progress in the state of Kansas right now. Look, I still believe deep down, I still feel like renovation in Missouri is in the lead right now. But it doesn't mean that Kansas isn't closing the gap. And I don't know the talks that are taking place behind the scenes. None of us do. But if Kansas and the Chiefs weren't anywhere near being close to getting something done, they wouldn't have extended this. I've been told you extend this Star Bond because you feel like you can get a deal done and you need a little bit more time to do that. And I think that's where Kansas is right now. You saw their comments yesterday. They feel like they're in the red zone and they're ready to kind of close in on this thing. And even Mark Donovan in his letter yesterday to the state of Kansas had said, we remain fully committed to this opportunity and have invested substantial time and resources in moving this project further. We've engaged in multiple rounds of detailed proposals and revisions with the administration. Extending the Secretary's authority will allow the process to continue productively and will preserve Kansas's ability to secure the most significant economic development initiative in the state's history. We're grateful for the continued leadership. We believe this project could mark the start of defining a new chapter for both Kansas and the Chiefs, and we look forward to continuing to explore that potential together. Somebody told me yesterday in the know, they go, those were strong words by Mark Donovan. And I thought that as well, too. And I was like, strong words in what sense? And they're like that's a kind of a commitment to Kansas by doing all that. I'm like, well, I don't know that they're 100% committed to Kansas or 100% committed to Missouri, but they're making a lot more progress than I believe people in Missouri wanted to realize, or they'll never move people, want to realize. Real progress is being made in the state of Kansas with the Kansas City Chiefs. Where they are, how they get there, I don't know. Ultimately, it relies on Clark Hunt giving the blessing to say, yes, it is time to move, to the state of Kansas or just to a new stadium in general. Because, again, as we've talked about, that's Clark's childhood home, right? We've all left our childhood home. It's not easy. It's emotional. Imagine leaving your child at home that your dad built on the cutting edge. It was the coolest house ever, and everybody modeled their house after yours for the first, couple of years that they were building stadiums, and you set this trend, and now it's time to move out. It's a hard thing to do. It's an emotional pull for the Hunt family, and I completely understand that. And so Kansas is still, negotiating deeply with the Chiefs on that in the Star Bond side of things. And again, with the Royals, that expires, coming up here. I hear they're, what's the baseball term of close to the finish line? They got 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth and bases are loaded. It's a 3-2 count, and they're ready to just fire that final strike and say, waiter, check, please, and finish this thing up with the state of Kansas. I know there's been some noise out of Missouri and whatnot, and they've made another proposal for the Royals. I just don't think the Royals are going to be able to get what they want at Washington Square Park from a developmental standpoint, to have the ability to develop the area and truly give them what they need, and that is a 365-day-a-year venue with offices and people and apartments and condos and restaurants and bars and all that kind of stuff. I just don't think there's anywhere else that can give the Royals that. And if that's not what they want, then downtown is the option for them as well. But I still feel right now in my heart of hearts, the Royals end up 119th and the Chiefs stay put and renovate Arrowhead. That's kind of how I feel right now. But again, this clearly blindsided a lot of people yesterday in the state of Missouri that the Star Bond extension was going to take place when Bob Fescoe told you that 3 weeks ago here. So why are you surprised about that? The state of Missouri really should be listening to me. They'd be a lot further ahead of the game than where they are right now. And I'm not trying to be, braggadocious or anything like that, but it sure seems like I know a lot more than the people in Missouri do about what's going on.
Yeah, it seems like they've been blindsided by a couple of these moves when you obviously have been telegraphing and broadcasting to all of us that what's going to happen. I mean, you mentioned Mark Donovan's language. I mean, he said, the drive is there more now than ever to get this done. I mean, to me, it's either a clear representation of what he's saying is the drive is there, the motivation's there, and we want to be in Kansas, or it is more of a message to Missouri to say, hey, this is happening. Esser, get off the pot right now.
Right.
This is going to happen. Here's this very clear-cut language that, I'm more than okay with leaving and going to Kansas and for all, X, Y, and Z. But you still think Royals happen first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I do. Look, I think the Chiefs are going to take their time, as they should, and they're in a great spot. And that's the thing about this is that a bunch of civic leaders from Kansas City had a press conference on Wednesday talking about the importance of keeping the teams in the region, not just in Missouri, but in the region, and what these teams do for the region. And that's the great thing about this is that we have Kansas versus Missouri. We don't have Kansas versus Tennessee. We don't have Missouri versus Minnesota or Oregon or someplace like that. We're bidding, to keep the teams in our area. It just matters what side of the state line. And at the end of the day, as I've said all along, all of that is irrelevant. It doesn't matter what side of the state line either of these teams end up on. What matters is that they stay in the Kansas City region, they stay in the Kansas City metro, and they stay part of our community. And that's what we want in all of this. And that's why it's a good thing to have Kansas and Missouri going back and forth bidding for both of these teams, because they're going to land here. They're going to get great stadiums built or renovated, however they want to do it, and to have to compete with each other as opposed to competing with another market across the country that could take our team and leave us empty-handed. this is a really good thing that's going on right now. It's great for Kansas City that we have the ability to do that. And so, yeah, Mark Donovan did say we are excited about the potential for this project would represent the largest economic development initiative in state's history. Just as important, the presence of an NFL franchise in the state will serve as a powerful engine for immediate and long-term growth, driving national attention, sustained tourism, and billions more in private development across the state. And so, yeah, I think that very was a strongly worded letter of like, we're getting closer here in the state of Kansas. Anybody want to wake up in Missouri? You going to increase your offer? Is this the best you can do? I mean, it's great. You go back and forth. You use each other as bargaining chips, and you get the best deal for you, the best deal that you want. And so I'm excited about what potentially could come from both of these stadiums, regardless of what side of the state line that they're on. And let's just get it done so we can all move forward here and kind of celebrate and you know where these teams are going to be playing, and everybody can kind of plan accordingly. Coming up here on 96.5 The Fan, if you could find out that someone was actually your real dad, who would you want to be your father? Because somebody found out that this man was his illegitimate dad, and they're loving life. We'll tell you who it is next.
You're listening to Fescoe and Dusty.
Whoever that bozo was doing the armpit fart thing, come on, man.
Catch Royals insider Josh Vernier every Monday at 8:20, right here on your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
Real stories with Helzberg.
After we met and we started dating, Nancy and I lived 150 miles apart, and I would drive my old jalopy car, and it was roughly a 3-hour distance. It took 3 years I drove across that state back and forth dating her every weekend.
Persistence.
And I would have never stopped. I had a lot of energy back then. 36 years ago.
At Helzberg, find the engagement ring worthy of your story. Designed with the love, care, and craft it deserves. Visit a Helzberg store or helzberg.com.
0% financing is back at Reiselman Nissan. That's right, 0% APR for 60 months on brand new Rogues and Pathfinders. Or choose 1.9% for 72 months. Even 84 months at just 3.49% APR. Looking for power? Get up to $6,000 in total rebates on new Frontiers. And don't miss 1.9% APR for 60 months on the bold and stylish Murano. These are some of the lowest rates we've seen all year, and inventory's moving fast. Visit Reiselman.com for full details. Reiselman Nissan. Every customer, every time.
Exercising and being outside are two things I love doing almost every day. I can't imagine joint pain slowing me down. The good news is, if you do have joint pain, I've got the answer for you. QC Kinetics has over 50,000 satisfied patients in less than a decade, and everyone is getting results with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime at all. QC Kinetics has been on the cutting edge of regenerative medicine. They use natural treatments that harness your body's own healing power. Regenerative medicine used to be an alternative, and now it's mainstream. So if you love being outside and working out as much as I do, or you just love to play golf or tennis or doing everyday activities, and you don't want to live with that joint pain any longer, call my friends over at QC Kinetics. Don't let sore knees or elbows or shoulders or a back keep you from doing the things you love. Call QC Kinetics today, 816-412-6299, 816-412-6299. Off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. It's QC Kinetics.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot doot, and sometimes it's like grrr.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh yeah.
Then we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the grrr.
Not with Fix Finder. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Lowe's knows how to set off your July 4th with savings. Right now, buy one, get one free on select one-coat coverage interior paint via Visa gift card rebate. Plus, get two select 2 or 2.5 quart red, white, and blue annuals for just $10. Hurry, these July 4th deals won't last long. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 7/9. Selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for more details.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late-night bites.
The technicians you can trust with your house keys. Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric.
Stay comfortable year-round with expert HVAC installation done right the first time. Enjoy a new HVAC system starting at $150 a month. Schedule your consultation today at anthonyphce.com.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
East side 70 westbound starting to slow just a bit around Jackson Avenue, getting into a construction zone there, taking away the left lane. Kansas side 635 southbound briefly sluggish approaching the interchange with I-35. Alan Carr, 96.5 The Fan. Traffic.
Coming up in about 15 minutes here on a Friday, we will get into the halfway point of the baseball season. We legitimately hit it yesterday at 81 games in the books, 81 more games to go. And that's really the only way to sum up the first 81 games of the season for the Kansas City Royals.
No, I could do a...
Okay.
Yeah,
that as well. I mean, I don't think there's anything else that really sums up, the first half of the season. So we'll get into that coming up just after 7 o'clock this morning here on 96.5 The Fan. So I like perusing and viewing the articles of the day, as they like to say on the internet. And this one comes from the New York Post. Billy Idol isn't surprised he has a secret son. Quote, I had sex with 1 million people.
Let's go.
I just want to win, Jen. So Billy Idol's out here, absolutely having the time of his life and living it up, saying that he had sex with 1 million people. And so he meets his illegitimate son or one of his illegitimate children, however many he may have. But he says he's addressing the realization that he's fathered a third child. Okay. In a new interview with iNews, the musician, 69, nice.
Let's go.
Admitted that he's given his promiscuous lifestyle. He wasn't completely shocked when he found out just a few years ago he has a secret son, Brant, who was born in the 1980s. Maybe a little bit, but the more I thought about it, I guess there must be something like that, Billy Idol said while laughing, because we were going around the 80s and 70s just having a lot of sex with 1 million people. I'll keep it clean for that one. So Billy Idol out there doing the ditty, taking care of business out there. Now this guy finds out, hey, Billy Idol's my dad, right? Like,
it's crazy.
How random would that be? Like, is there anything more random than you waking up realizing that Billy Idol is your father? Like, that just feels like a weird one. Like, if you woke up and Meatloaf was your father, you'd be like, wait a second here. Meatloaf is my dad? Oh, my God. That's random as well. Or you woke up and Maloney was your dad or something like that, right? That'd be fantastic.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
Let's go.
Let's go, Rob. But no, like, I mean, it would be unbelievable to wake up and find out that so-and-so is actually your father. And for the first 35 years of your life, you've been living with this guy, but he's not your dad. But, whatever the case may be, your mom hooked up. And here we sit. I'd want my cash.
Yeah, you want some money. Yeah,
I want the dough out of this one. And so I'd be knocking on the door going, hey, Pops. Hey, Pops.
Hello.
Give me my money. I'm your son, Brant. Nice to meet you. But it begs the question, if you could find out somebody was your father and you didn't know about it, but all of a sudden here you are in your 30s or 40s and you find out so-and-so is your dad, who do you want to be your illegitimate father?
Oh, it's a great question.
Thank you.
Because I think, it's just like, how was your Tuesday? Oh, yeah, went to work. How about you, man? Oh, yeah, Billy Idol's my dad. You're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah. Well, had some coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
Took a dump, did the whole thing.
Yeah.
Billy Idol's my father. Went to lunch. Wait, what?
I think you go many different directions with this. I'm going to go money and interest. Bill Simmons got a lot of dough. He's got a lot of money. Plus, he's a sports guy. He loves the Celtics. He'd get me courtside seats to the Boston Celtics. We'd go sit together with my new dad, and we'd root on the green.
What would you do, though? Like, if you did find out that Bill Simmons or whoever was your illegitimate father, but your dad has raised you, like, how do you, go from, this has been my dad to this is my sperm donor? Like, how do you make that jump? Do you ditch the guy who's raised you for 30 years and go to
not.
Billy Idol, or do you like how does that whole situation play out? Because that's got to be a weird situation.
It's weird.
To
I'd
be
want to
in,
build
too.
a relationship.
I would as well.
But I
yeah.
obviously can't throw away I don't know, I guess the person who raised me would be like my father almost, whereas okay, that's my dad. I should get to know my dad. I don't know. Does
I
that
think
make
it's
sense?
the other way around.
The other way around?
Actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the guy that raises your dad
your
the
dad.
guy is your father. Like
Okay.
he fathered you, right? You don't say he dadded you,
No,
right?
that's true.
He fathered you. So he would
That's
be
fair.
your father, but the guy that raised you would be your dad,
Yeah, and you'd want to get to know that both at some level,
Well,
right?
I would think, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
or I don't know. I think the older you get, the more you realize, oh, okay, this is what happened. I get it. I'm a guy. I understand. Things happen.
just wanna
It's
win, Jim.
probably a lot easier for a guy in his 30s to understand than an 8-year-old kid. If something like that happens.
Geez.
So,
Yeah. Also, it's the 80s.
yeah, right. And
So-
probably the 70s for this guy. Who knows how old this guy is? But yeah, the 80s, late 70s, early 80s, most of the 80s. Very weird time, man. So, all kinds of things were going on and
Yeah.
whatnot.
Who's your answer?
It's Warren Buffett is my answer.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
I mean, Warren Buffett would be
Gotta figure out how to make money on this. I really want to.
yeah, I mean that's it for me. I thought right away, let me get Warren Buffett as my father. That would be great because you'd be set for
Cha-ching.
life. You could say Bill Gates, he don't leave his kids anything. He's not leaving
Yeah,
his
he's
kids
like that.
anything of his fortune, which I think sucks, man.
Yeah.
Have the kids take care of them. I'm working my ass off so my kids don't have to.
That's
My
the whole
father-in-law
point,
says that all
right?
the time too. I'm working hard so you don't. And every generation wants to give to the next.
Yes.
Bill Gates, richest man in the world. Yeah, I'm going to give it all to charity and not to my kids.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree.
There's something to say about growing up super wealthy and having your kids, want to earn it
Yeah.
and teaching them those lessons. But come on, man, just to throw away the level up that you've earned for your kids and the things that could bring them to, the positives that could, that's crazy to me.
Yeah, it's nuts because we all know how hard it is in this world, right? It's harder by the day.
Yeah.
Things get more expensive
tough.
by the day. It's not easy to raise a family, now. My sister and I talk to my parents about it all the time. We're like, it's much different. We appreciate the advice that you want to give us about raising children and what we should be doing. But honestly, honest to God, most of the stuff that you raised us on doesn't apply today.
Yeah.
It just doesn't apply. It doesn't exist. You just can't do this or you can't do that or you can't do the other thing because it doesn't apply today. Everything's expensive now. There's no more $25 team that you can just sign up for and play. Everything's thousands of dollars for this, thousands of dollars for that. The world is so expensive right now. And so if you're a guy like Bill Gates and you have the opportunity to set your family up, for life and take care of your kids after that, you got to do that, man. You got to think about them first and setting them up for success because if they have success, then success begats success and it trickles down and everybody can have success. But if you don't, man, I just think that's a bad way to go about it. What's the text line saying this morning?
Well, we didn't get Bill Gates. We got Bill Brooks from 93, which I think's great.
Bill Brooks is a good one, yeah.
That's awesome. I love this one. Here we go. I was trying to find it. 816, Pat knows his true daddy's Joe Burrow.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
913, Carrington.
Oh.
Okay. 816 says Clark Hunt.
Nice.
That'd be a fun one.
That'd be a fun one.
That's a good one.
Yeah, if your dad owned a football team, like the guys who the dad owns the Jets, and they're making decisions based on video games.
Madden ratings.
Yeah, love it.
Sylvester Stallone from the 913.
Sylvester, huh? Yeah, could you tell what movie he's doing? Rocky or Rambo?
Hugh Hefner should have been my dad from the
Oh, that's a good one.
That's
Yeah,
a good one.
yeah.
That's a fun one.
Are you as suave as Hugh Hefner is? Is that what you're saying? Like you're walking around in a silk red smoking jacket at the Playboy Mansion?
Oh, yeah.
God love you if you're doing that, man. You're my idol. Not Billy anymore, but you are for doing something like that.
This guy says, way to go, Billy. Says it like it is. This guy says, 5'6'3", J.F. and Binkley. That's fantastic.
Binkley, he's America's dad. Let me tell you, nobody represents the male in America more than Jay Binkley does here on 96.5 The Fan. So if you got guys who you would like to have as your illegitimate father, you can text that in as well to the Jay Southland Tow Service text line 913-586-7965 for all of your text line needs. Coming up here on 96.5 The Fan, we're going to get into it a little bit. It's the halfway point officially of the baseball season. We're going to talk about some of the things that didn't go so right, some of the things that need to turn, and if we believe they can turn, or if this is where we are when it comes to the Royals. We'll do that next.
You're listening to Fescoe and Dusty.
Hey, well, yo, man.
On your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But with an unpredictable economy and the future feeling uncertain, you're wondering if that equity will still be there when you're ready. But what if you could bank that equity right now? With TrueHold, you could sell your home for its current value so you can access your equity today. You can bank the cash now and stay in the home you love with an easy standard lease. TrueHold even covers property taxes, insurance, and repairs. And since TrueHold hands over your equity in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't let a shifting economy put your hard-earned equity at risk. Visit TrueHold.com and receive their competitive offer on your home in just 48 hours based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9393 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
Did storms hit your area? Looking for answers on the impact it made to your roof? Then it's time to schedule a zero-pressure, in-depth inspection with Century Roofing's trusted roofing experts. We will determine if enough damage exists to warrant filing a claim. See for yourself why Century Roofing has been voted Best of Johnson County for the third year in a row. Press the pillars of strength for 35 years. KC-based and female-owned. CenturyRoofingKC.com.
Century Roofing. Trust the pillars of strength.
Tiger, dragon, do you have what it takes to win? Be fierce like the tiger, strong like the dragon. Only the brave will survive.
Yeah, that's not how these games work. With Tiger and Dragon from the Kansas Lottery, you can win up to $125,000 or $100K in a second chance drawing.
You are weak.
Ouch. It's not a video game. It's better. Play Tiger and Dragon instant games from the Kansas Lottery.
Let's play.
Yeah, that works. See kslottery.com for details.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WEB-NOW-1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Only $39 for an AC tune-up. Book now at themvpkc.com. MVP Air Conditioning, Heating, Plumbing, and Electric is your home's MVP this summer. Get a summer AC tune-up for just $39 and avoid costly repairs. Call today, 913-214-1212, or visit themvpkc.com. MVP, one call does it all.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
East side 70 westbound, a little slow past Van Brunt over to 27th Street. Construction in the left lane slows you. Kansas side 35 southbound, briefly slow around Antioch. Alan Carr, 96.5 The Fan, traffic.
The Out of Options Podcast, with new episodes released every Tuesday on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
All right, rolling on a Friday morning here on 96.5 The Fan. Fescoe and Dusty with you, with Mac as well. Dusty is off today. He's out on the links hitting them straight, hopefully, and has a great round of golf today. And you get it in before it gets really hot out there today. So hopefully the course is dried off. He gets the opportunity to go out there, hit them straight. He'll be back on Monday. I'll be off next week. We'll be off Thursday and Friday as well for the July 4th holiday. And so everybody's kind of moving in the right direction towards summertime now. And that's kind of where we sit. You know, the summertime is here officially, and next week when the 4th of July gets here, you'll start seeing those back-to-school commercials, and we'll all get excited for the most wonderful time of the year, back-to-school time. I can say that. I'm a parent, and if you're a parent, you understand it's the greatest time of year. But also, too, what this time of the year brings us is the halfway point of the baseball season. We always use the All-Star break as the halfway point, and everybody kind of assesses things there. But that's about 2 weeks or so away until we get to the All-Star break. We're going to be about a game 100 by the time we get to the All-Star break, roughly game 100 when we get to the All-Star break. But now, after the first 81 games in the season are in the books, I think it's fair to say, and quite honestly, the only thing that's saving it from being a total F has been the starting pitching. But I'll give the Royals a D- for the first half of the year, because we expected them to be a playoff team, and they're not a playoff team. They're anything but a playoff team at this point in time. And I think it is a fair grade to give them a D- because they have not done what they said that they were going to go out there and do. The starting pitching has been obviously wonderful. They've been phenomenal. You can't ask for anything more, and I guarantee you most teams in Major League Baseball right now would trade their rotation for the Royals rotation. I mean, they are legitimate. They give you an opportunity to win every single night. The problem is your offense hasn't given you an opportunity to win on most nights. And so your starting pitching has been out there, and they've been taxed, and they're pitching very high stress innings right now. And that's why I don't have a lot of faith going down the stretch for this ball club, because through 81 games, we've seen that they're not a very good hitting team. They're a great pitching ball club, but every inning that they pitch now is a high leverage inning. And what I mean by that is they understand that if they give up one run, they've basically lost that game. And so every pitch, every inning, every out matters so much more for this staff. They're not going out there and pitching in a 10-0 ball game either way. They're going out there, and every inning now that these guys are pitching are high-taxing, high-leverage innings, and those take a bigger toll on your body than non-taxing innings and high-leverage type innings. And so that's why I think it's going to be tough for this organization to continue that pitching in the second half of the season, because they've been pitching high-leverage innings basically every single game, every single inning of the first 81 games.
No, I mean, it's just going to be statistical regression, right? Back to the mean, back to the average, right? They're so far above expectation from a pitching standpoint. We expected this to be a good bullpen, a good lineup, good depth, right? A bunch of good arms, but we didn't expect it to be like this.
Right.
And so for that reason, I'd give it an F, because this team is still not, I don't want to say bad, because they're not bad, weirdly enough. They're a couple games out of the wild card. But yet again, like you said yesterday, there's only 3 teams in the whole AL that with a worse record, right? There's 9 straight losses, 10 straight at home, 3 straight sweeps. The fact that this team is where they're at with the pitching makes it an F to me. It makes it more disappointing. I would rather this team be just straight up worse than this, rather than have one of the best units in all of MLB, all of Major League Baseball, pitching. They've got to be a top 5 unit in baseball and still be a bottom 10 team in the league. That's impressively bad.
Yeah, and I think you made a really good point there, and you probably didn't even know you made a really good point there. And the reason it's a good point is because there's a lot of people arguing with you right now in their cars, and you said you'd rather be worse than where they are right now. And I agree. They're in purgatory basically right now, right? They're 6 games under 500, but you got so many teams to jump. Only the White Sox, the Orioles, and one other team, the A's, are worse than you. when it comes to wins and losses. I can't look at games back in the wild card standing. I think that's a fallacy. I have to look at teams ahead of you and where you are in the standings and how many teams that you have to jump. Because it's not just games. You're not just 3.5 back of the division lead and it's one team. You're 3.5 back for whatever the number is of the wild card spot, and you have 5 other teams or 6 other teams that are ahead of you that you have to jockey position with. And so you have to hope all those teams always lose. And like the math just doesn't work out, right? Unless you go on some, bender or something like that where you're scoring 15 runs a game and you're winning 20 straight. The math is hard to work out when you have to jump all of those teams that are in front of you. That's why I look at it right now and say this is not a playoff team. There's too many teams ahead of them right now. And to your point that you'd rather be worse, I'm with you. I'd rather either be 10 games better or 10 games worse than where they are right now, because I know fans are sitting around, the optimistic fan is sitting around going, oh, we can't make any trades. We can't trade Lugo because we're so close to being in the playoffs. You're not. And I'm giving you the hard truth right now. You're not close to being in the playoffs right now. Games behind in the wild card standings do not matter. All of those teams ahead of you matter. And if you were 10 games better, you'd be in. No questions about it. We wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
It would be a much better conversation.
And if you were even 10 games worse or even 5 games worse than where you are right now, it would be better, because now you would know you're not in that purgatory of kind of squinting to see if we can make it into the playoffs.
Should we sell?
Right.
Yeah.
This is a situation, the for sale sign should be out front of the Royals' house at this point in time. And you should be accepting offers, because you don't want to get into a situation where you don't trade Seth Lugo because you're trying to hold on to a faux playoff berth and then cost yourself the ability to get players back in return to make your organization better. And so that's kind of where I think the Royals need to go. And this was said yesterday on MLB Network by J.P. Morosi about the potential of trading Chris Bubic.
I don't think Bubic is going to get traded, but I will say this. The Royals have lost 4 in a row. Their pitching overall is quite good. Bubic, importantly, is under control for 1 more year at a very reasonable number, okay? So my general statement is this. There should be at least as much conversation surrounding this possibility as there was for Tarek Skubal a year ago, because Bubic is actually closer to free agency now than Skubal was at this time last year. And obviously we know Skubal stayed put. There is, of course, this alternate universe whereby the Orioles traded for Skubal, won the World Series, and Brandon Hyde is still their manager. But that is not the reality that we're dealing with right now. Bubic, for me, you look at the Royals and their lack of supporting offense in terms of offensive depth, while I believe, again, I do not think he's going to get traded. But this is something I would say put a pin in this conversation and circle back in a month. And if the Royals can get two impactful young bats, I do think it's something you would have to at least consider, given how much of a struggle it's been for them to score runs. And again, having lost 4 straight now under 500, that was non un terremoto. I just bumped the camera. I would say that it's going to be an unlikely situation, but one that we should watch.
And I think it's a very interesting comment by Morosi. I was saying this 3 weeks ago, potentially trading Chris Bubic because of where he is in his contract situation, right? He's got another year under team control for a very reasonable, dollar the rest of this year. Each day that goes by that you don't trade Chris Bubic, you get less and less back in return because it's less and less controllable time, for him in another organization. So I think you do have to consider trading Chris Bubic. I do think you have to consider trading Seth Lugo. And I do think you have to explore all of those options, because right now with Seth Lugo, with Chris Bubic, you're still 6 games under 500 and a mile away from even being considered a postseason, miles away from being considered a postseason team right now. And that's where I come back to. When people tell me, oh, you can't trade Seth Lugo, where would we be without Seth Lugo? I said, where are we with Seth Lugo? Where are we with Chris Bubic? Where are we with these guys right now that are on this roster? And it's 5 or 6 games under 500 and a million miles back of the final wild card spot. So we know what you are with these guys. It's not good. So trade them and get players back in return that can take, your weakness and potentially make it better. And sometimes you have to deal from your strengths to make your weaknesses better. And that's what I think the Royals need to do. They are an under 500 team with 2 dominating pitchers on the mound, and they can't score runs. And that's why you have to explore trading those guys, because I don't know that those bats are in the minor leagues, and then you have to spend money in the offseason and overspend money in the offseason to get those bats in your lineup, because after this season's over, regardless of how all this thing plays out, you got to revamp that lineup. You can't roll this thing back another year and expect the same results. I know I heard Vinny yesterday and Q yesterday talking about, we're going to break. Based on what? How are you going to start raking it? How are you going to break out? Based on what? What have you seen over the first 81 games that says, yeah, we're going to break out of this? And so the way you break out of it is you bring new players in that are better than the ones that you have, and Lugo and Bubic can help you in that situation, just like you did last year with Brady Singer, and you got Jonathan India back in return. You dealt from a strength to improve a weakness, and right now I think that's what they need to do with either Lugo or Bubic and say, hey, we're going to deal from a strength, and we're going to make our weaknesses better.
Well, and you've got the Dodgers, the Mariners, and the Diamondbacks coming up, Bob. After losing 9 in a row, getting swept 3 times, you've got 3 hard series ahead of you.
Yep.
We could easily be talking about, and I hate doing this, but we could easily be talking about, the Royals have lost, 14 of their last 18, and now all of a sudden selling seems way more plausible, but now the price has probably gone down because everyone's like, the Royals suck. You got to do this now. You want to be the first one with the picket in front of your fence, right, or the sign in front of your fence, right, the sign in your yard. That's what you have to do, because this team, they don't have an identity, Bob, other than pitching. Like, offensively, what is this team's identity? And you know more about baseball than I do, but teams that are structured like this, low scoring, pitching, defensive, relied on defensive, identity. Where's the offensive identity? Isn't that through small ball? They don't hit home runs.
And I'll give Vinny a lot of credit for bunting twice yesterday.
Yeah,
brilliant move by him.
Finally.
That unlocked Mike Moustakas back in 2014. That was the difference. When Mike Moustakas laid down a bunt, and I had people in the front office say to me, hey, that was a big deal. Moustakas bunted. I go, why? They go, he finally gets it. He understands team baseball.
Yes.
That was a team baseball move yesterday by Vinny. And I will praise Vinny all day for bunting yesterday twice, because he finally said, fine, screw it. I don't care. We need to win a baseball game. Like, what Vinny did yesterday was a team moment, and nobody can say that Vinny Pasquantino isn't a team player, because he went and he said, the defense is going to shift me the other way. Screw it. I'm not getting hits right now. I'm going to bunt. And he bunted twice and got on base. And those are team type moves where he's like, I'm not looking at my contract. I'm not looking at barrel rate. I'm not looking at stuff my agents are telling me to get paid. I'm looking at ways to win games. Vinny Pasquantino, that's a teammate, man. That is a teammate for doing that kind of stuff yesterday. So I want to give him
more of it.
His flowers. But you're right. We do. It can't be just Vinny going out there and doing that. And
Small
he did it
ball,
twice
let's go.
yesterday.
Manufacture runs.
Yeah, you've got to do that
We're way
kind of
past
stuff.
that.
Yeah, but we are way past that.
Way
That
past-
should have been happening a
Come
long
on.
time ago. But that goes back to them, hitting and running, bunting, and doing those things, hitting behind the runner, playing baseball like it was meant to be played. But the nerds have ruined all of that for us. And we talk about speed off the bat and barrel rate and all this crap that doesn't mean anything. Meanwhile, we're not scoring any runs. But if you lay down a bunt, you advance a runner, you steal a base, sack fly, you got to run. And just getting a run right now for this team would be some of the greatest things that could potentially happen. So that's where I stand at the halfway point. I think it's time to start considering selling. The first half of the season was not a success, and you have some trade chips that you can use to make your ball club better. You got to explore all of those options. Coming up, it's not just Ben Roethlisberger. We've got another gentleman who entered the idiot chamber when it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs. Next.
You're listening to Fescoe and Dusty on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Well, we've got a weekend coming up, and that means relaxation. And it means even more relaxation than we've ever had, because we don't have to worry about our lawn. We don't have to worry about mowing the grass. We don't have to worry about trimming. We don't have to worry about cleaning up. We don't have to worry about anything except enjoying our outdoor space, because the folks over at Aspen Lawn and Pest Control have taken all of that off of our plate. Mowing, nope, don't have to worry about doing that over the weekend. We just get to sit outside and enjoy the yard that we now have, that we're very proud of, because of Aspen Lawn and Pest Control and their college-educated professionals. They did something we couldn't do, make our grass look good, and they've done an unbelievable job at that. And then they put down the mosquito dome, and I love that, because it allows me to sit outside and not have to worry about getting bit by mosquitoes. It allows the dog to go outside and play in the yard and not have to worry about the ticks or the fleas. Aspen Lawn and Pest Control has changed our entire outdoor space, and we love them for that. They offer full-service lawn care, irrigation, and pest control, and they've been serving in Kansas City since 1985. So when you call them, mention this ad. They're going to give you up to half off your first application. Visit them now at aspenlawn.com. That's aspenlawn.com.
Gain Super Flings are here to take your laundry to the next level.
Talking about Gain Super Flings. Super size laundry packs. These things are huge. Super fresh, super clean. Gain Super Flings.
Gain Super Flings laundry packs have 4 times the Oxy cleaning power and 3 times the Febreze freshness versus Gain Original Liquid.
Super fresh, super clean. Gain Super Flings.
Gain Super Flings for next level laundry.
Men, summertime is here, and that means vacations, summer barbecues, outdoor parties, camping, beaches, and so much more. This is Jeff for Hartland Men's Health, and if you're like many men, you may not be feeling like yourself this summer. Perhaps your energy is low and you aren't sleeping well. Maybe your workouts aren't as good as they used to be. And if what I'm describing is you, it's very likely you're suffering with low testosterone. But low T doesn't have to affect you anymore. Just call Hartland Men's Health, get treated, and see how it changes your life. If you're like most men, you'll feel so much better. Deeper sleep, improved vitality and clarity, greater strength and energy, and an enhanced sex drive as well. So call us. Just $99 gets you a PSA and T-test and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices, Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
Jake from State Farm. I just beat my running PR, so I'm celebrating with the Banana Bonanza smoothie.
Hey, and you can keep celebrating when you create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. Go bananas.
I will. Hey, make it a large.
Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Granger who does the same. Granger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling Grandma for her recipe, no-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m., big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas, the ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2025 with select plans. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 7/2025. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management and practices, visit straighttalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
East side 70 westbound, a little slow past Van Brunt over to 27th with construction blocking the left lane. Kansas side, things move well. 35 northbound, trip from Olathe to downtown is 20 minutes. Alan Carr, 96.5 The Fan, traffic.
Back in on a Friday morning here on 96.5 The Fan. Fescoe and Dusty and Mac with you. Dusty's off today. I'm Bob. He's Mac. And we will get to one word coming up in about 10 minutes here on 96.5 The Fan. But it is that what we call the silly season now in Major League Baseball, or not Major League Baseball, in the NFL, because we're in that window between the end of rookie minicamp and mandatory minicamp and OTAs, and then the start of training camp. I heard Ben Roethlisberger, when I was listening to his nonsense, talk about Patrick Mahomes being out of his prime window. He had said this is like the second off season now for the NFL. So guys are away, they've dissipated, they're doing their thing, they're having fun, they're getting ready to get to training camp and get the season started. So this is that foolish season, hot take season, ridiculous season, make news
Crazy
type of season.
yes.
And so you were listening to the Rich Eisen show yesterday or the day before, and he has Brockmeyer on with him, and they were talking about this Chiefs dynasty basically being over. We'll let you listen.
Last year's Super Bowl blowout loss marked the end of the Chiefs dynasty.
That's absurd. That is one of the most absurd things I've heard in a long time. I would absolutely say that you are out of your mind, and 100% the Kansas City Chiefs are coming back this year even better than last year, even better than last year's Super Bowl, because Rashee Rice blew his knee out right in the middle of October in Los Angeles. Travis Kelce is coming in with a chip on his shoulder. They made the Super Bowl last year. They were the 1 seed last year. They're not longer in the tooth in very many spots at all. They're the same team. I will say you're out of your mind, and that's a great way to start this program.
But are they going to get the same breaks as last year? Remember fortunate calls in the beginning of the season against Cincinnati, a toenail loss against the Ravens, a blocked field goal against the Broncos. Are all of those breaks really going to go their way? Because when you really think about it, and you think, oh, those games could have gone the other way, they're 9-8, 10-7, 11-6 max. Super Bowl losers, there is a thing as a Super Bowl losing hangover.
Yeah, they're going to get breaks like that.
They're going to get all the breaks again. Okay, cool.
They're going to get calls that everybody thinks that Roger Goodell is mandating that the Chiefs advance because Taylor Swift is dating Travis Kelce. You're out of your mind. The Chiefs
Obviously.
The Chiefs are, listen, will they make the Super Bowl this year? I don't know. Will they win the AFC West again this year? I think that's more likely than not. Will they actually have double-digit wins this year? That's more likely than not. But to say that their window is closed on their Super Bowl run.
The dynasty is over.
The dynasty is not in any way, shape, or form over.
The dynasty has taken a turn and has started chapter 2 or 3 of this dynasty, depending on how you want to look at it. The dynasty is not over, and I don't know who that Brockmeyer is that was on there with Rich Eisen. Is that his son? Who was that? Like,
Chris Brockman? Yeah, I don't know much about him.
I honest to God, have never heard of this guy. When you'd said to me the other day that this Chris Brockman guy, I'm like, okay, Hank Azaria is saying what about the Royals right now, or Chiefs, or whoever it could be? I'm like, I don't know who this Chris Brockman is, but I will say to Rich Eisen, clearly listens to our show because he was dead on with everything. Like, Rich Eisen nailed everything. And I appreciate that because Rich Eisen isn't a low-hanging fruit type of talk show host. He actually knows what he's talking about. And he's never been that shock jock Stephen A. Smith, just throw things out there and scream and see what happens. Everything that we heard from Rich Eisen in that clip was true. That's reality. Everything is reality. And what we heard from the other guy is like clueless, I'm a radio talk show host. I'm going to throw out things that some people believe. There really isn't a lot of depth to the conversation. I'm going to make a lot of things up, clickbait type stuff that's going to get people's blood to boil. And so I look at that Brockmeyer guy's comments from the Rich Eisen show, and I'm like, boy, I think you were totally misguided and you were speaking ignorantly. And that's the word that I will use. These were ignorant comments from him about this Chiefs dynasty. He says, can they get all the breaks? Let's talk about the breaks that people think that the Kansas City Chiefs got just for the first 2 games of the year. Isaiah Likely stepped out of bounds, right? Was that the guy's name? Who's that tight end, right?
Isaiah Likely.
How is that a break that the Chiefs got? Dummy Dummerson didn't know the end line
where he was.
You have to have field awareness. This isn't Canada.
It wasn't a break when Xavier Worthy was out of bounds in that long ball early on in the season.
Right. Remember that one?
Yeah, that wasn't a break for the other team.
No,
that was us being bad.
That's right. Not having football IQ and understanding, like if you go across this line, you're out of bounds, it doesn't count. That's not on the Chiefs. That's on the player for not understanding where he is on the field, the game situation that's going on, and everything else surrounding it. So that's not a quote-unquote break. That's a mistake that the other team made that the Chiefs really had nothing to do with, quite honestly. Then let's go to the Bengals game. They were talking about the Jamar Chase penalty. Is it the Chiefs' fault that the player on the other team couldn't behave the right way, screamed at an official, and got a penalty?
Yeah.
Is that the Kansas City Chiefs' fault because a guy melted down on the field? And this league is all about players not showing up the referees. We don't even allow celebrations in this league at times, right? And so that's the Chiefs' fault that a player on the other team acted the fool and got a penalty and they capitalized on that penalty. That's not the Chiefs' fault. And the other one that I take so much umbrage with is the block field goal because that is denigrating the coaching job of Dave Tube. Right?
My guy.
That's your guy, Dave Tube. But because
Sam, you're right. Yes.
Because everybody to a man after that game where you couldn't corroborate your story said, oh, yeah, we worked on that in practice. We knew that guy was a weak link on the offensive line during field goals, and we exploited that. That's not a break. That's just being better than you. And so when you talk about the Chiefs getting penalties or getting, the breaks of things not going the way of the other team, that's not on the Chiefs. That's the other team just not being that good, being that smart, being that prepared for a game, and the Chiefs being overly prepared for a game. There's a good chance that they never block a field goal against Denver. They never get in that situation. But they work on those things. Those are the little things that this organization works on that nobody else does. When you think you're working on everything, you're not. Andy Reid's working on something else. Dave Tobe's working on something else. Steve Spagnuolo's working on something else. And they're figuring out ways to have that advantage over you. That's not getting breaks. That's not, the officials. That's capitalizing on the situation and doing your job better than everybody else. And that really bothers me when people talk about that block field. Oh, they were just a block field. No, they planned for that. They knew exactly what they were doing on that play. And when you say, oh, it was just a block field goal, you minimize the work that Tube has put in for this one, right?
Exactly. Well, I got to give Brockman some credit because, the breaks that he's talking about, the Chiefs, Rasheed Rice getting injured for the season.
Yeah.
Big break, right?
Yep.
Or, Hollywood Brown missing the whole year before the season even started. Huge break. Or the running back one for the Chiefs, missing the whole season or most of the season. Isaiah Pacheco getting hurt. Huge break for the Chiefs. 3 of their top 5 offensive weapons in the first 6 weeks of the season being gone for pretty much the whole year. That's really huge. Oh, yeah, and them not having a left tackle. Huge break. For the opposition. Massive. Just Chiefs over and over again getting lucky. He mentions one-score games. You know what? For real, I will throw them a bone. Will they be 10-0 in one-score games this year? Probably not, right? We're going to have some regression. But what is Mahomes in one-score games in his whole career? He's over 71% win percentage, Bob.
That's nuts.
He's nuts. In one-score games, he's almost automatic. So fine, you want to say they win 7 or 8 of those instead of 10? Fine. They're 13 wins instead of 15, Chris. They're not 9, 10, or 11. They've not won 12 games once with Mahomes. They won 11 games one time.
Yeah.
They're over 12 wins every season just by waking up and being there. There was one anomaly that didn't happen. Even with all the things, all of the breaks, so-called, that they got last season, they were able to overcome all those. This is just rich baloney from Chris Brock.
Well, and then there was
a Patriots fan, by the way.
Oh, is he? Okay,
yeah,
good for him. I've never heard of him, so. But no, honest to God, never heard of the guy. I don't really care who he is. I've never heard of the gentleman before. But I think there was one other comment in that drove me nuts, and it was a noise that he made. When Rich Eisen said, most likely the Chiefs will win the AFC West, and Brockmeyer went, what is your based on? What is it based on? Like, what is telling you right now that the Kansas City Chiefs aren't the team to go out there and win the AFC West? Where are you looking? What are you reading? What are you watching that is telling you that this still isn't the best team in the AFC West. I know we don't like to pick the same, and it gets boring. You go and you have vanilla ice cream all the time, but by God, at the end of the day, vanilla is a damn good ice cream flavor, and it hits the spot every single time. That's kind of where we are with the Chiefs. You know that they're going to be good. It's going to be a damn good product that they put out there, and at the end of the day, it's just going to be better than everybody else. Until somebody knocks them off, they are the reigning champions, and they should be picked as the reigning champions unless Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid retired tomorrow. Then you can go have your fun with khakis and, beat up player gate guy and the Raiders. Like seriously, like you can go have all your fun with that once Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are done. But you're just picking against the Chiefs to pick against the Chiefs to let everybody know, I'm picking against the Chiefs. And then you can say if by something happens, well, I told you the Chargers were no, nobody should be picking any of these teams because these teams still have not had the success in beating the Kansas City Chiefs to anoint them the next division championship. So the dynasty is not over. It is another chapter in the dynasty.
Will they win the AFC West again this year? I think that's more likely than not.
That
why are you? No, we're going for 10 straight times.
1 year of Bo Nix was really good. They got a nice defense. You got to put it together for year two. Yep. Are you smelling yourself, right? Are you smelling yourself? You walking around feeling really good that we had a good year? The Raiders, who the hell knows what they're going to be like? And then, of course, the Chargers are never a team that you can bet on, and because they're dream crushers. That's all they are. The Chargers are dream crushers for everybody.
They're going to do it again this year. The Chargers roster is not as good as people want to make it out to be. The nerds are slowly going to realize that, including me. I already have this offseason that the Chargers don't have that 53-man roster that people every year want them to have. That this is not that team that's going to do that, and I don't think the Broncos are either. You thought, C.J. Stroud had a sophomore slump. I think we could see the same coming for Bo Nix. I think there's a great text here from the 816. Will they even have that many one-score games? No, the Chiefs aren't going to allow that to happen. We've talked about this. The offense is going to step up. The defense is already there. This team's improved from last season.
I know they have.
Like, come on.
They didn't have to make, other than the left tackle.
Yes.
They didn't have to make one move outside the organization to get better because they got everybody back.
Mm-hmm.
And you got healthy. You got your weapons back. You didn't have to go out and spend in free agency.
Nope.
You're not looking for, oh, my God, we need a wide receiver, so we're going to go spend extra money on a guy that we should be paying and then get into cap hell. Like, they have none of that. They didn't have to go out and spend money. They just had to get guys back from injury, and they did that, and they went and shored up the left side of that line. And so let's go, man. Stop picking against this team.
One word.
First name is Blake, and he goes on a cruise. He goes on a Caribbean cruise.
Katie Holmes.
No. Ah!
Are you listening?
What's your least favorite thing about working with yourself?
Body odor.
You get one word.
On the count of three, name your favorite dinosaur. 1, 2, 3. Velociraptor.
This is one word on Fescoe and Dusty.
Well, we'll stick with some Chiefs, Bob, before we get back to those Royals that we love talking about right now. Let's stick right here in Kansas City, and this is just kind of a me thing, but he's been in the news. We've talked about him. We're going to talk about him a little bit later on today as well. One word on Josh Simmons. Looks like he's healthy. He's full-go in training camp. He's progressed past what I think a lot of us maybe thought he'd be at this point, where he'd be at this point from a health perspective. One word on him.
Difference. And what I mean by that is he is the difference maker on offense this year. We've got a situation where we're getting all of our wide receivers back. We've got Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and all that going into their senior year. But I think right now, when I look at this kid, Josh Simmons, I feel like difference. He is a difference maker for this organization.
Man,
they announced Josh Simmons, offensive tackle from Ohio State.
I hate this pick, actually. Don't like it. Don't like it.
That's great. I'm different than Jay. I feel like Dusty right now.
I know that I'm hard.
I mean, I'm sports horny for this guy. I really am.
I am
Bob.
too. Yeah.
I mean, I haven't felt like this about a young up and coming Chief. New draftee in probably maybe even since Mahomes. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is the second most important position in football, guarding the best player of all time and the best player certainly in Chiefs history for hopefully what could be the next decade, the rest of his career. And Well, we'll talk about what Jason Kelsey said later on in the show and gets me going.
No, I think it's fair to say, because I was going to ask you, have you been really this excited about any draft pick since Patrick Mahomes? Like, who would you have been excited about, right? Since Patrick Mahomes has been drafted. Haven't had first-round draft picks, really.
Yeah, like McDuffie and Karlaftis were exciting, but they were both into the first round. They weren't like Josh Simmons would have been a top 5 pick if it weren't for the health.
That's right. Trey Smith would have been a first-round pick
exactly
if it wasn't for the health.
Great point.
And so when people say, well, because of the health, ... The Chiefs have been down this road before, and Trey Smith was a lot more serious with the blood clots than a guy's knee. I mean, that happens every Tuesday. Somebody blows out a knee. So that's not a big deal from NFL standpoints. And so if you felt safe drafting Trey Smith when you did, obviously, in the 6th round, a lot different than the first, it's a knee injury. You're going to get this guy back. He's going to be ready to go. Yeah, you take a flyer on him, and that's the luxury of being awesome like the Kansas City Chiefs are.
Yep.
You can kind of take a quote-unquote, and I hate to use the term flyer because that's just a bad term to use because it's not a flyer because that denigrates what these guys do and study and research and scout these players. But you're kind of taking a flyer on a guy in the first round there that a lot of people were passing up on because of injury. But boy, when healthy, he can be really good. You have that luxury right now. Those are the type of picks you make when you're the Chiefs. It's not the type of pick you make when you're the Jets.
I think people underestimate how good this team can be if Josh is what he might, if he lives up to what he could be. Sticking with football, Justin Tucker suspended 10 games yesterday. He does have the ability to join a team, participate in training camp, participate in the preseason, and then that suspension would go into play once the season starts for 10 games. One word on Justin Tucker.
Good. Get rid of him.
Absolutely.
We don't need people like him, around anywhere. And I don't think he's going to get signed by anybody.
I hope not.
You got this 10-game suspension looming over your head. Kickers usually get signed because a kicker gets hurt and you need that guy the next week, right? You need that guy. Oh, crap, he got hurt on Sunday. We have a Thursday night game. Find me somebody, right? That's how that works with the kicker. You can't do that with Justin Tucker because he doesn't. The suspension doesn't start till he's on 18. So if nobody signs him this year, it's like suspension served.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like he's the GOAT anymore either, because we know some teams will look past their moral high ground and maybe make a decision that's based on X's and O's. I don't think he helps you in that way either. He was 30th or 31st as far as field goal percentage last year. He was near dead last. One word, stadium news came out yesterday. Star bonds are going to be extended there. Looks like the Chiefs have some real eagerness, at least from Mark Donovan's words in that letter, about some drive to get things done on the Kansas side. One word on those star bonds being extended for another year, Bob.
Well, to the end of the year.
To the end of the year, thank you.
Good. Yeah, good. It gives you more time to negotiate with both sides of the state line. And both sides should be excited that the star bonds for the Chiefs have been extended to the end of the year. And nobody should be surprised by this. We told you this 3 weeks ago that this is most likely going to happen. From a Chiefs standpoint, they're going to extend the star bonds. What it means for the Royals, it's still a little foggy on if they've extended for the Royals, but I think the Royals could have an announcement sooner rather than later on what's going on with them as they kind of button things up. I still believe 119th is where the Royals end up, and I still believe they renovate Arrowhead Stadium on the Missouri side, but this is good news. This is progress that maybe a lot of people didn't think was going to happen. And then you had the president of the Kansas State Senate, Ty Masterson, yesterday saying, we're in the red zone, man. We're closing in on the goal line. Like, okay, those are strong words. You don't use those words if you don't feel like you're getting close to getting something done, both by Mark Donovan and by Ty Masterson on the state of Kansas.
Yeah, it feels like pressure would be my word for Missouri, kind of starting to heat up from those letters.
But they should have been feeling pressure since the vote failed and haven't been, and that's why we're here.
And that's why the conclusion may be something that Missouri doesn't want because of all that, right? So one word on the Royals weekend coming up, Bob. It's been a rough 2 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, all the must-wins are out. All that kind of stuff is gone. And what I'm looking for is healing. And from an offensive standpoint, go out there and try to score some runs. Not that they're not, but you know what I mean. Manufacture runs. See yourself having success. Realize that success. Because once they get that success, they realize that success, it will free them up to have more success. And so, this is an opportunity for the Royals to kind of realize some success maybe against the Dodgers. Hopefully they do. We'll see.
Yeah, identity. This team needs an offensive identity. They got to figure out what that is. It ain't hitting home runs, so manufacture runs, like you said, small ball, whatever it is, they've got to find themselves.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, Bob, it is FriYAY. And it looks like we're going to still have some serious heat. That sun's going to be out, but I'm seeing Saturday and Sunday 88 and 89, so we're not quite in that 90 range anymore. But it has been hot. One word on this heat.
Unbearable. I mean, like when you walk outside and it feels like a blow dryer's in your face, just the hot air out there. Like it's been nasty out there. Nasty is another good word to use for this heat.
Sticky.
But, in a couple of months when it's cold and we're freezing, we're like, man, I wish it was warm again, right?
Exactly. Every time. I was letting the dogs out or whatever, and the sliding door was just like, I left it open like a crack open. I was going to get something, and I just like walked by the door. I was like, ugh. Like I could just feel like the warmth and the just stickiness. Had to close the door. But, yeah, it looks like we will get under 90 this weekend, but still going to be quite a scorcher. And then that's it for one word.
There you go. Coming up here on 96.5 The Fan as we motor through a Friday morning, we're going to do our out of left field question. Max got a good one coming up for you. And a little bit later on, there was a Chiefs take yesterday on Twitter, or not Chiefs take, but a Royals take on Twitter yesterday that I saw that I believe is not unique, but it is the worst possible take you could have if you are a fan of an organization. We'll tell you what all that means coming up next.
Hey, it's Vinny Pasquantino, and you're listening to Fescoe and Dusty on your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
I love saving money, and Hy-Vee is always finding ways to save me some dough, like new lower prices in every department. And on top of that, I save so much money at the pump with Hy-Vee's awesome Fuel Savers deals. I love watching the number roll back at the pump, and Monday, June 30th is for me. I'll earn a 40-cent per gallon fuel discount with every $60 grocery purchase, and you will too. So stock up for 4th of July weekend and stack up all of those fuel savings. It's awesome to save money at the pump, only at Hy-Vee.
Nothing says summer like a backyard barbecue. Invite your family, the neighbors. You can even include the entire Little League team. Hy-Vee makes it easy and affordable. This Friday through Sunday, save big on all your favorite flavors of summer, like John Morrell Frank's just 97 cents, Juicy Ripe Cantaloupe $1.99, Pepsi 6-pack bottles $2.99, and Lay's Potato Chips just $1.99. Hurry to the backyard barbecue sale and fire up the grill this weekend only at Hy-Vee.
It's the spring sales event at Rob Sight Ford, and I'm here with the man himself, Rob Sight. Rob, you already stole the spotlight. Now what are you trying to take?
Just your attention, Kevin, and maybe a few trade-ins. Now, we've got up to $14,000 off new Fords with employee pricing, plus our own dealer discount.
$14,000. That's hotter than your Sunday barbecue.
Exactly, and unlike your burgers, these deals won't dry out. We've got hard-to-find inventory, huge trade-in values, and our non-commissioned sales team makes everything so easy.
No pressure, just real help. Even I'll admit it, it's the best place in Kansas City to buy a car, and I don't hand out compliments lightly, or seconds.
That's a fact. And don't forget, we're Kansas City's top-rated Ford dealer on Google. 4.8 stars, nearly 3,000 reviews, and 0 grill marks.
All right, Rob, I'll give it to you, man. You're cooking up some real value over there.
Come see us at 135th and State Line or visit robsight.com. But hurry, these deals are sizzling and inventory's moving fast.
And tell him Rob sent you. No guarantees, but he might throw in a hot dog.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-707-6152. 800-707-6152. 800-707-6152.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling Grandma for her recipe, no-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m., big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas, the ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2025 with select plans. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 7/20/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management and practices, visit straighttalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
Real stories with Hellsberg.
After we met and we started dating, Nancy and I lived 150 miles apart, and I would drive my old jalopy car, and it was roughly a 3-hour distance. It took 3 years I drove across that state back and forth dating her every weekend.
Persistence.
And I would have never stopped. I had a lot of energy back then, 36 years ago.
At Hellsberg, find the engagement ring worthy of your story. Designed with the love, care, and craft it deserves. Visit a Hellsberg store or hellsberg.com.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
East side, I-70 westbound, slow rolling from Van Brunt, off again, on again over towards Truman with construction blocking the left lane. 71 northbound, briefly slow from 87th up to Gregory, and then 435 eastbound, a little sluggish from Holmes to the state line. Alan Carr, 96.5 The Fan, traffic.
Turn down the loud music. No, I'm kidding. It is a Friday, and we are excited. The weekend is fast approaching. The 4th of July holiday is fast approaching. A week from today is the 4th of July. I'm excited about that. We're going to go to a friend's house on 4th of July.
Nice.
And it's like somehow my daughter and her friends have started hanging out with these guys at a different high school, but the guys that they're hanging out with are like one of my wife's friends' kids. And I'm like, how did this happen? Like, that's Kansas City in a nutshell, right? Like, all of a sudden this kid shows up and we're like, you're Carrie's son. Why are you here? Like, what are you doing? And so, like, there's a big 4th of July party we're going to go to on 4th of July. That's when they celebrate that, July 4th.
Cool.
Yeah.
I was wondering.
It's always on the 4th day of July, right? And so it just happens to be like they're having the party. So it's like kids' parents' party the first time, like one of these type of thing this is going to take place. Yeah, so it's going to be very interesting to see how this is going to be. And since this party was announced a couple of weeks ago, we've been looking for outfits for this party.
We're going to have
outfits for this party. It reminds me of going to Beaver Lake with our friends years and years ago. And my friend Gary will laugh every time he hears this. My wife's like, do you have your 4th of July shirt ready to go for pictures? Like, 4th of July shirt? What the hell are you talking about, a 4th of July shirt? And so, like, it's been a decade and a half now, I think, since that 4th of July shirt incident. The same year our friends had sex on a rock. It was great. I mean, it was fantastic. It was awesome. Like, and I totally get it now. When you had kids, there was a spare rock on the side of the lake. They went up on the rock, had some fun, back to the boat. And where were you guys for the last half hour? Oh, I don't know. We're on the rock. And so we started singing Love on the Rocks and whatnot. And so the outfits and all this stuff. So a week from today is 4th of July. Get to Hy-Vee, get all your good stuff. They got a great liquor store as well. Get on over to Hy-Vee and take care of all of your 4th of July needs, but that is coming up very fast. And I think this kind of out of left field question can be something we can all ponder as the 4th of July holiday starts to approach, and more importantly, of what I'm going to do today, and that's hang out on the boat with Ralph and just kind of chill for a couple of hours.
What's up, Ralph?
You want to come, you can. Just show up at the house. We're leaving about noon, I think. But it reminds me of why today this question is important, at least in my world anyway.
So I'm glad that you like this. This is a random one.
Did Spectre give you this one though? No. Because this has come from his mind before.
Really?
Oh yeah.
No, I've done. No, this is actually from Hannah's mind. I won't even take credit, but 5 liquids can be dispensed out of your 5 fingers. You've got unlimited liquids out of these 5 fingers. Choose 5 liquids. What are your 5 liquids? 913-586-7965. Be part of the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll read them on the air. For me, it's pretty simple. I drink 5 beverages for the most part, and they're all going to be coming out of my fingers right now.
Okay.
Number 1 is water. You got to have water.
Gotta have water. That's a must.
It's a must. So you're basically, what are the next 4, right?
100%.
Unsweetened iced tea for
You're
me.
a big unsweet tea guy.
I am a big Diet Peach Snapple guy, the sugar-free peach Snapple, so I will put that on my fingers. Club soda would be a 4th finger, and then my 5th finger is vodka.
So you can make vodka soda.
I can make vodka soda, I can make vodka tea, I can make vodka water, I can make vodka peach tea. I've got it all right there. And so imagine not having to load up a cooler and all that nonsense, and you're on the boat and you just go, little vodka there, little club soda there. I got my drink. I don't have to pack anything. Makes things easy. Makes things easy for tailgating
100%.
as well. I got all my beverages right there. All in my hand. What do you go with?
Okay, so obviously you mentioned it, water. I get a little bit weirder. We'll start with what I drink, okay? We'll do water. I'm going to do Surfsides.
Oh, okay.
So we'll figure out if I want liquor, I'll have to do that the old-fashioned way, right? But I'm going to have Surfsides right on me, and then I'm going to have I'm trying to think exactly what soda I want, but I do want a soda because I am a soda guy. I know it's not good for me. I'm going to do Dr. Pepper.
Okay.
And these are the last 2. Okay. You ready for this?
Yep.
Gasoline. So I don't have to get gas in my car.
It's literally called a gas, not a liquidine.
What do you mean? No.
It's gas.
No.
Olean. It is not liquid olean.
On. No, but gas is a liquid.
Gas is a gas. A liquid is a liquid. It's gas olean, not liquid olean.
785. I get what you're saying. Gas, water. Yeah, I get you. Now, I'm keeping gas and then hand sanitizer.
Oh my God! Really?
I know. I'm surprised that you didn't have that because now I'll never have to worry about germs. I got sanitizer on me. Don't have to fill up my car. Got water. Got a Surfside when it's hot. Going to a movie. Bang. Dr. Pepper.
I'm gonna debate your gasoline if we can. I mean, it is a gas. Again, it's in the name, right? It's right there. We had science classes. Is this a liquid or a gas?
I wasn't good in those.
Text line, you got to weigh in, man.
Yeah,
you guys got to weigh in. Is gasoline a gas? Is it in the name? Or is it a liquid?
816 says it's liquid gas. I love that. Hey, it's liquid gas.
Yeah.
The other 816 says gas is a gas.
Yeah. Yeah, gas is gas. Like
gasoline's liquid at room temperature, another number says. I don't know, man. Gas is definitely a liquid.
Gas is a gas. I mean, it's a really interesting question. I don't know the right answer. Do we have a science teacher? Kiter, where are you? Call in.
Out of left field question. Is gas a gas?
Is gasoline gas or liquid? Does it count as a gas or a liquid? Because if it really does count as a liquid, then it's a smart move to have gasoline in one of your fingers to fill up your car.
Gasoline. This is the AI, okay?
Oh, well.
This is the Google AI.
They also said, Wizard of Oz came out in the 70s.
Gasoline's a liquid, despite the fact that it's commonly referred to as a gas in North America. It's a liquid fuel derived from crude oil and other petroleum liquids.
All right. I guess I'll give it to you then.
Yeah,
if AI says it, I mean.
If AI's on our side.
Yeah. All right. I'll give it to you. What
So,
the
yeah,
hell?
gasoline. But
right.
Here we go. Gasoline's absolutely liquid. It's not a vapor. Call it fuel and bypass the argument. I like that. For
There you go. I was going to say
Fuel.
petrol,
Yes,
as they call it
exactly.
overseas and whatnot. Got to get to the petrol station.
Give me some petrol. We've got some other answers here. 913, liquid gold makes that money.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Good job. Water, Arnold Palmer, Boulevard Wheat, and Gatorade, specifically red Gatorade from the 913.
Okay, that's only 4, though, right?
Liquid gold.
Oh, liquid gold. Okay.
Yeah, which is another smart one. Gas is a state of matter, has nothing to do with the name. This is all this is now. Water, coffee, bourbon, and light beer. That's it for me. Just needs 4 from the 913.
Water, coffee, bourbon, and light beer.
And a light beer.
Okay, that's good.
It's not about, I thought about a light beer instead of a Dr. Pepper. I might do
coffee
that.
would be too hot in my finger, and I'd look at it be warm. I didn't want a warm finger.
816 water, Dr. Pepper, vodka, V8 Energy. I haven't heard about V8.
I have. Is it good?
I don't know.
V8 Energy. I need
V8
more on
Energy.
that.
Yeah,
one,
let us know. 816, and then oat milk.
Oat milk, huh?
For specifically, yeah. This 816 just needs one, I guess. Jaeger bombs for the summertime.
Jaeger bombs are a good summertime drink. When was the last time you had a Jaeger bomb, though?
Long time. Yeah. College, probably.
What about a flaming Dr. Pepper? When was the last time you had a flaming Dr. Pepper?
Never heard of him.
You never had a flaming Dr.
No.
Pepper before?
No.
Oh, wow.
You'll have to introduce me.
Yeah, it's a shot you light on fire. I think you drop it in a beer and it tastes like a Dr. Pepper.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Let's do one. Let's do it. It's Friday. Come
Yeah,
on,
right.
Bob.
I'll get Maloney down here to fix up a bar.
Yes,
He can go
let's
play
go.
bar at the studio, make everybody flaming
Let's do
Dr.
it.
Peppers.
Water, Propel Grape, Tequila, Fresca, and Ghost Energy Drink. There you go.
All right. That's interesting ones there. That's all over the place. Binkley's got Mountain Dew, energy drinks, Dip Spit.
Dip Spit.
Yeah. Water. And he's got himself a Sam Adams, I guarantee it.
This guy says water, coffee, tequila, Tank 7, and Tank 7.
Tank 7 and Tank. I mean, tequila, Tank 7, and Tank 7. Yes. Brother, you're going to have a weekend, my man.
Yes, you are. I don't know if we remember it, but it'll be fun.
That's going to be a fun weekend at your house, my friend. What kind of tequila you drinking?
Yeah, Tito's on this list a couple of times. I see people wanting some Tito's. V8 Energy is delicious in a big variety of flavors. Same caffeine as a cup of coffee, but it still gets some from fruits and veggies in it.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm interested. I'm in.
Yeah, that
that's a good one.
sounds good. From the 316, Bob doesn't want apple cider.
No. I've had a couple of people say I need to go on a cider rant about the Royals. I'm like, nah. They need to go on an apple cider rant, not me.
Coming from us, that's just going to be.
Yeah. That'd be
that's
like,
going to be gas.
Yeah. That'll be like, talk show host screams about Royals. Do Royals even scream about Royals? You got to scream about yourself, man.
100%.
So, all right, there it is. The out of left field question. You guys can continue to weigh in on that. If you would have 5 liquids dispensed out your fingers, which 5 would it be? I want to read a tweet that I saw about the Royals that had me so pissed yesterday because it's so wrong. We'll explain next.
You're listening to Fescoe and Dusty on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5, The Fan.
Hey there, Kansas Lottery here. And we want to get together for a game or two. Meet us at your favorite retailer or wherever you like to buy your tickets, and we can let the games begin. There's a lot of fun and cash on the line. See kslottery.com for details.
The success you've had in life matters. The late nights, the extra shifts, the moments you've stood up and said, I've got this. At University of Maryland Global Campus, we value your achievements because we're a school for real life. With UMGC, you can earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and relevant life and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. We offer scholarships, affordable tuition, and online and hybrid classes, all with the support you need from your first day to graduation day and beyond. As an accredited state university, we've been transforming lives for over 75 years. Choose from more than 135 undergraduate and graduate degrees and certificates, and get ready to succeed again. Get an affordable online skills-based education to move your career forward. UMGC offers no-cost digital materials in place of textbooks in most courses, low-cost tuition, and over $21 million in scholarship opportunities each aid year. Find out if you qualify at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Doug. Here we have the Limu Emu in its natural habitat, helping people customize their car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Fascinating. It's accompanied by his natural ally, Doug.
Limu, is that guy with the binoculars watching us?
Cut the camera. They see us.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
Brought to you by Gomer's. 5 locations in the KC Metro or online at gomers.com.
Summertime is fun time, and that means it's Gomer's time. Voted #1 KC liquor shop and family-owned since 1969, Gomer's Fine Wines and Spirits. Stop by one of their 5 locations. You'll be glad you did. This report is brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts, your professional parts people.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Missouri side, inbound I-70 gets heavy around Van Brunt over towards 27th Street with construction taking away the left lane. 71 northbound, still rolling from 87th to Gregory. Alan Carr, 96.5 The Fan, traffic.
Subscribe to the 249 Miles of College Football podcast with new episodes released on Wednesdays. Listen on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Make sure I got the Flaming Dr. Pepper right for you. It's basically just a high-proof rum lighted, dropped in a glass of beer, and that's what it was. Because I think the last time I had those, probably 2001 on 6th Street in Austin, Texas. KU was playing UT down there, and that was the only time in my life that I was so broke I slept at the airport.
Oh, that stinks.
It was like, so... It was one of those where I had like a 6 a.m. flight and we got done drinking around 11 or 12 and whatever. And I'm like, yeah, just take me to the airport. And I just
That's honestly not bad, yeah.
Yeah, like what do you do at that time, right? I was like, I have no money anyway, so credit cards are kind of maxed out at this point. They just, they got. I'll just sleep here and wake up and get on the flight. And it ended up working out just fine. I made the flight and everything was wonderful. I know people care, but that's where I think that's 24 years ago. Last time I probably had a Flaming Dr. Pepper Max, so it's been a while. But you should experience one of those. Since you like them. You just ask at your favorite watering hole when you walk in. The first thing you are, take a Flaming Dr. Pepper, please, and see if they give it to you, and see if you can have it. Binkley did text me. He said,
he did? Okay,
he would have beer in all 5 fingers. I said, which kind? Light beer. So he would have beer in all 5 fingers.
Beers. Okay.
My friend Paul is arguing with me about whether or not gas is a gas or a liquid. He says it's a gas. I say it's a liquid. He is wrong. And then my friend Joe, I would have liquid butter, liquid gravy, water, milk, and liquid cheese. No, Joe, that means you just sit there like just shooting this stuff into your mouth because you want to be like 700 pounds.
Liquid cheese, nice.
Yeah, but he did say, tell me one time if you're not drunk and you look at me and I got that liquid cheese, you don't want some of my liquid cheese. Joe, I ain't wanting none of your liquid cheese, my man, okay?
Someone said about the gasoline from the 620, pour it on your shoes and see if they get wet.
But it dries right away. It disappears. You spill it on your car, gone. It is a gas. Again, it is in the name. I want to address this Royals take because, look, we're not happy, right? I think that's fair. We're not happy with the way that the Royals are playing baseball right now. We've reached the halfway point of the season, and they stink. They're well under 500, and they're not a playoff team, right? But what I do want to say is I get really angry when I see tweets that say, the Royals front office is just sitting on their hands and watching this season fade away. And I really resent when I see comments like that, not just about the Royals, but by any organization in professional sports. These guys that are in the front office of organizations, that are running these front offices, that are running these teams, they want to win. And I hate when fans think that the front office is just sitting around doing nothing. The Royals as an organization and JJ as a general manager and everybody in that front office work their ass off this offseason to try to make the offense better. They knew that they needed to upgrade on the offensive side, but they couldn't get the deals done for whatever reason. They offered $60-some million to Santander. He took 90 with Toronto. How's that been working out for Toronto? He's not even hitting all that well right now. So the Royals may have escaped that one. Instead, they went out there and they weren't able to add. And they knew it was going to be difficult. And they thought that they could rely on their pitching. But, hey, maybe eventually some of these guys would step up. They tried Hunter Renfroe. That didn't work. They've tried Mark Canha. They've tried Kevin Biggio. They're trying and going out there and making these efforts to try to make this team better. And I do. And look, I'm not affiliated. I don't pay me money. I don't work for them. I'm not them. But I will say it bothers the hell out of me when I see that the front office is just sitting on their hands. They're not doing anything. What did you want them to do? And if you just say make it better, well, then that's not a real take. You've got to have a plan. You've got to execute that plan. And again, it's not because John Sherman doesn't want to spend money. That guy will spend money. We have seen John Sherman spend money. I have no debates over that. It's just that the deals didn't work out. And that happens more often than it doesn't in professional sports. The best laid plans sometimes just don't get enacted. But to sit around and say that they're sitting on their hands and they're ruining this organization and it's business as usual and there's no accountability and all this kind of stuff like I was seeing yesterday, that couldn't be further from the truth. I don't believe J.J. Piccolo likes waking up in the morning or Q likes waking up in the morning, looking at the standings, hearing us talk about them not hitting and go, yeah, everything's great. I'm just going to go in and sit on my hands today. They go in every single day looking for ways to make this organization better and to try to make this organization better. And if you're doubting the way that they've gone about their business since JJ has taken over, look back to last year, guys, when they went out and they know they needed bullpen help. And what did they do? They literally traded for every bullpen arm available last year. The MO, their modus operandi, what they've put on paper is that they are going to be aggressive. But you can't go out and make moves until other teams are ready to make moves and say that they're done for the season. It may be too late to salvage the Royals season this year, but you mark my words, they'll be back at it this offseason, making this ball club better. Don't think they're just sitting around and they're okay with what's going on, because they're not. You don't get to be running a major league organization like JJ. You don't get to be the owner of a major league organization. You don't get to be the manager of a major league organization like Q if you're sitting back and you're not driven to win and kick everybody's ass at all times, because that's what it takes to get to this level, and that's what it takes to be successful at this level. JJ didn't get here because he doesn't want to kick everybody's ass. Q didn't want to kick everybody's ass. And John Sherman, a successful businessman, he's kicked everybody's ass along the way too. These are men that want to win, and they're doing everything they possibly can. They've given these guys the opportunity. What's Bobby Witt doing this year? Why is it so blasphemous to say, where's Bobby Witt been this year? But we want to blame the general manager or the owner, and they're sitting on their hands and they're not doing anything. Neither's the shortstop. Neither's the first baseman. Neither's the catcher. Right? So let's look at the players and let's hold them accountable for not doing their job. The front office is trying. There's only so much that they can do. There's only so many players you can bring up and send down to Omaha or cut off your roster. If guys aren't available to come in, you can't make changes on your roster. And that's kind of where the Royals are right now. But it's not because of lack of effort. I just absolutely hate that and loathe that. Oh, front office is sitting on their hands. Well, your shortstop isn't doing anything. How many days to the start of the regular season, Mac?
71, I believe, now, until the Chiefs season gets started. And that brings us to our Chiefs question, that they have offensive line issues.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I guess my question today to you, Bob, is what is the biggest misconception about the Chiefs?
And I think the biggest misconception is that their offensive line is in shambles. And I think for me, that goes back to one of those, again, low-hanging fruit type of deals where people have heard and saw the Super Bowl, and we heard about the left tackle not being good. We saw the left tackle wasn't good. We traded Joe Thuney. Ipso facto, the Chiefs have no offensive line. I think that's a lazy take for the Kansas City Chiefs. They have a different offensive line. We don't know how good or how bad this offensive line is going to be until we get into the games, until we're in September and trickling into October, and then we'll have kind of an idea of where this offensive line is. But I think when people see different and something they're not used to, they consider that to be a problem, and they consider that to be bad instead of just opening their mind and saying it's different. Quite honestly, it has an opportunity to be better, because as good as Joe Thuney was, if your left tackle's better and good, that makes your left guard even better. And then you're not worried about trying to play two positions at once like Joe Thuney had to do last year. So I think the offensive line and saying that it's not good, that is the biggest misconception about the Chiefs. It's different and you're not sure about it. And so in our nature as humans, it's not good because we're not familiar with something instead of just letting it play out. What about for you?
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think overall I'd just say that they don't have elite weapons. I think offensively, it's talked about like Patrick Mahomes is going to have to lift all these people up. Travis Kelce's on crutches. He's at the end of it. It's like, hey, have you ever heard of Rashee Rice? I think people just forgot about him because he only played 3 or 4 weeks last year. Obviously, first season, his rookie year, didn't really come on to the last 8 or 9 weeks of the season in his rookie year when they implemented him, and boy, he took off. And it looked like he was going to take off last year until that unfortunate injury happened in that collision between him and Patrick Mahomes. But he was second in yards after catch. I think he would have been top 5 in that category had he stayed healthy the whole season. This is a big play receiver. He can take a 5-yard screen pass and take it for 40 or 50. We haven't really seen a guy like that besides Tyreek Hill, but Rashee Rice does it in a different way. He can break tackles. He can maneuver around bodies. And I think he's more well-rounded. I think this guy could be a better route runner. I think he have better sideline awareness, and I think his hands are strong. What was that? Trying to think of that nerd verbiage that we heard yesterday on catches, but I can't think of it right now. But I would say the lack of elite weapon and depth, and you speak to the offensive line. Let's say you had an A+ at guard and an F at left tackle that averages out to a C, but you're having to worry about that F all the time, then it makes it seem worse.
Yeah.
I'd rather have 2 C's right there, and that way, okay, set it, forget it, they're average, we can work with that. That's
a great point.
To me, that's the worst case scenario right now.
Because that's what you did have last year. You had an A at left guard and an F at left tackle, and average it out, you had a C left side of your offensive line.
Yeah. But really, we're having to constantly implement new plays and kind of cater to that F. Where, you don't really have to cater to. Occasionally, you may miss a play here, may miss a block, may miss an assignment. But overall, you're going to be average. We can work with that. Patrick Mahomes can work and even flourish with average. Mm-hmm. And it looks like Josh Simmons may be better than average, according to Travis and Jason Kelce.
Josh Simmons, to me, watching the tape in college, it was absurd.
Yeah.
Like the athletic ability and size. Trav knows because I've been watching this dude.
I've been preaching. I laid my eyes on him. You already know. I've seen it. I've seen it. He was playing defensive end as just like a scout team defensive end, and he was just playing this gap, but he was being a pro. He was being locked in and being a pro, and I felt that man's hands grab me, and I was like, all right. We're just, I got to come with it, even when he's just giving the looks. I got to make sure I'm got my feet planted, man.
I've watched a lot of these linemen coming out the last few years. This kid, I mean, he is the closest thing I've seen to like a Trent Williams or like a Jason, like that next level strength and athleticism.
It's coming from the best center of this generation, and a Hall of Famer.
If those two guys talking just doesn't make you smile on a Friday, like, I don't know what will.
Right, with Trey Smith laughing in the background. Gotta love that.
And I'm thinking about, they're talking about, like, okay, this is walkthrough, and you're still going through it all, man. Like, you're still giving all your effort, I'm like, okay, that's good. I like to hear that as well. Like, this is a guy that's going out there and busting it all the time, and he's having an impression on 2 Hall of Famers, right?
Yep.
And potentially a third in Trey Smith, because I think he is trajectory going to the Hall of Fame with the way that he's played in his first couple of years in the NFL. But you've got 3 of the best who have ever done what they did, and they're all being wowed by Simmons. And that's the cool thing to me. It ain't us talking about it. It's dudes that have been in the league, have retired from the league, they're headed to the Hall of Fame. They're going, this guy's good, man. I really like what I'm seeing out of this guy. And for me, that holds more weight than somebody like you and I talking about it, because when you play the game, you look at it in a different perspective. You can tell who's fake, who's not, and all that kind of stuff, and they recognize right away Simmons is going to be really good. I'm excited about him now,
so
too.
pumped, man.
He is probably the most excited draft pick that we've had since the Patrick Mahomes years.
Yeah,
really,
I think so.
I mean, I think people were excited about Clyde
I was really excited. It's true. I was.
Clyde, I think, but that was also coming off the Super Bowl win, and everybody was kind of juiced over that. It was COVID. We would have been excited about anything at that point in time. So I think we really were excited about that. But I think you're right. The more I've been thinking about it all morning long, and you said this is the most excited you've been about a draft pick since Patrick Mahomes. It's hard to debate that. It really is. It's hard to debate that because I think you and I, I'm not going to speak for the folks listening and on the text line and all that kind of stuff. And you guys can weigh in, go for it. I'd love it. But I think we see Josh Simmons like that final piece of that puzzle, is going to just tie this whole thing together. And that's what has us really excited about this. And we know the importance of that offensive line and how bad it's been because, I'm thinking about the F and the C and all this kind of stuff that you were talking about, the grades. And you're right. I know you go through it with my kids right now. You have one bad test. It's hard to bounce back from that, right? You go 0 for 8 in baseball and your batting average drops so much. You get one hit, it barely moves up again, right?
Yeah.
And so it's not just the average of those two guys, the A and the F that equal the C. That F weighs you down so much, and you have to work so much harder to overcome that F, And so it's not that guy's an F and Tooney was an A and an average to a C. That F brings down everybody even further, and you have to work doubly hard to get over the top of that,
Compensating for that, trying to dig yourselves out of these holes. You're like, why are we in this? Oh, yeah, we've got this dang F at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
I can't get my grade back up. You mentioned 0 for 8. I go 4 for 8 my next at-bats. I'm still batting 250. I just batted 500 for the last 8 at-bats. Doesn't matter.
Right. You're still hitting 250. That's exactly right. It's hard to bring those letter grades up. That's why you can't make mistakes early on. And if you do, you're working overtime to try to get back to where you need to be. Coming up, it was extended. We knew it. Some didn't. We'll tell you why next.
Hey, it's Matt Quattrero, and you're listening to Fescoe and Dusty on your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
Men, the summer is here. Longer days, warmer nights, and romance in the air. Intimate dinners, walks on the beach, dancing in the moonlight. But if you have erectile dysfunction, you know it can ruin romance, both for you and the one you love. This is Jeff for Hartland Men's Health. And if you have ED, don't let another summer go by without getting treated. Because intimacy is one of the greatest things in life, and fear of not being able to perform should not be something you have to deal with. At Hartland Men's Health, we're ED experts. We've successfully treated tens of thousands of men. Our protocols work when others don't, and we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. You could even last up to an hour or more and perform like you haven't in years. So call us. Your initial appointment is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
Allstate knows your home means everything to you, and you'll do anything to protect it. But not just with any protection. You want insurance that'll be there for you and your family when you need it most. And that's what Allstate's been doing for over 60 years. So check Allstate first for home insurance you can rely on. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Coverage subject to terms, qualifications, and availability. Allstate Vehicle and Property Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Granger. Granger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot doot, and sometimes it's like grrr.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh yeah.
Then we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the grrr.
Not with Fix Finder. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies the same item. Current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at Lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Kansas side, 35 northbound, slows at the merge of 69 Highway, not quite up to 75th Street, with a stalled off to the shoulder. Missouri side, 70 westbound around 18th Street with roadwork in the left lane, keeping things slow. Alan Carr, 96.5 The Fan, traffic.
Welcome back in on a Friday morning. Fescoe and Dusty here on 96.5 The Fan. Your home for Kansas City sports. Bob Fescoe and Mac Morian today. Dusty Likens out, hopefully hitting them straight at a golf tournament. I know hitting them straighter than I could. Set the over-under at 4.5 surf sides at around 10 a.m. when we end the show for our guy, Dusty Likens. Just talking about the Chiefs' biggest misconceptions on offensive line issues. Do they have offensive line issues? People acting like the left side of the line is a complete unknown one. Yeah, we have got question marks, but to say that there aren't real signs that the left side of the offensive line could not just be better, but above average for the Kansas City Chiefs, I think there are a lot of real, legitimate, relevant signs that point you to that fact. As we now kind of transition to the star bonds being extended, as Bob Fescoe.
Sorry, my bad. The boss was in the hallway and we were talking, and so you know I had to take care of business. So apologize for that. But no, what were you talking about? The star bonds, I hear.
Yeah,
is that true?
Kind of touching base, and we were talking about misconceptions, the O-line. I said there are a lot of relevant, real signs that point to you that the left side of the line could be legitimate this year, better than average, as far as the league's concerned. And it seems like people are just like, oh, question marks, unknowns. But I think the Chiefs know more than most people do. But then, yeah, I said the star bonds were extended.
Yeah, and look, every team has question marks going into the season. It's just the way it is. Nobody's a complete team. Nobody's a complete team at the end of the year either. I think even the Philadelphia Eagles would probably tell you they probably could have tried to get Saquon Barkley more involved in that Super Bowl, but they didn't need to, and so they didn't have to. But the Chiefs did a great job of shutting him down. That's neither here nor there. But nobody's a complete team. There isn't a perfect team in any sports. That's why we have off seasons to retool all the time. But as you mentioned, the retooling, the star bonds got extended yesterday for the Chiefs in the state of Kansas, and I do believe that we've got some bidding going on, which is cool, which is fun, which is great, which is what you want. And if you're a team like the Chiefs or the Royals, you've got two states in your city bidding on you, and that is a good thing. And yesterday or the day before, a bunch of the civic leaders in town did a conference call, kind of media thing about the importance of keeping the teams in the region. And that's what it is all about. It's never been about keeping them on the Missouri side or keeping them on the Kansas side. To me, it's always been about keeping them in the region. And I've been very upfront about that. I don't care what side of the state line these stadiums end up being built on, but I do care that they're in the Kansas City metro and they're not in Portland, Oregon, or Las Vegas or Nashville or someplace like that. They're going to be here, and that's a good thing for all of us involved. We need these teams in the Kansas City region, whether on the Kansas side of the line or the Missouri side of the line. It doesn't make a hill of beans and a hill of difference, really, to any of us as fans. You know, it just makes a big difference to whichever state that they're in, but as long as they're in our region, it doesn't matter where. And so yesterday, the star bonds are going to be extended now through the end of the year. We told you this about 3 weeks ago, that the star bonds were most likely going to be extended to the end of the year in the state of Kansas. And again, that is a good thing. It means things are moving along in the state of Kansas, and they've got some momentum, because from the people that I've talked to, they said you don't extend this stuff if you don't feel like you can potentially get a deal done. Now, this is no guarantee that Kansas is even in the lead right now for the Chiefs. It means they've got momentum. It means they're moving forward. It means they're agreeing on things. It means that they're, okay, I see that. I like this. I like this. I like that. We still have more to do. Let's extend this and continue our conversations. Just like any deal, they can fall apart at any time. And so I thought it was a strongly worded letter by Mark Donovan yesterday to the state of Kansas about the star bonds. I thought he was very strong in his wording. I thought Ty Masterson was strong. This Kansas State president was strong in his wording as well. And Mark Donovan in the letter to the state, and And to Senate President Masterson, he says, on behalf of our organization, we want to thank you again for your leadership in enacting the landmark economic development legislation passed last year to expand Kansas's Star Bond program. Your vision opened the door to a transformational opportunity, not only for Kansas, but for our organization as well. Together, we have the opportunity to bring the NFL to Kansas, anchored by a world-class dome stadium, a new team headquarters, a state-of-the-art practice facility, and a vibrant mixed-use and entertainment district. We're excited about the potential for this project, which would represent the largest economic development initiative in the state's history. Just as important, the presence of an NFL franchise in the state will serve as a powerful engine for immediate and long-term growth, driving national attention, sustained tourism, and billions more in private development across the state of Kansas. On and on and on. We're fully committed to the opportunity and have invested substantial time and resources in moving this project further. We've engaged in multiple rounds of detailed proposals and revisions with the administration. Extending the Secretary's authority to expand the Star Bonds will allow that process to continue productively and will preserve Kansas's ability to secure the most significant economic development initiative in its history. We're grateful for the support, and we believe that this project could mark the start of a defining new chapter for both Kansas and the Chiefs, and we look forward to continuing to explore that potential together. And so that's where the Chiefs in Kansas are. They got to a certain point, they're like, I feel good about you. You feel good about me? Sure, let's keep dating. Let's see what happens. Let's extend this for a little bit longer and see where we can go. Meanwhile, Missouri's cobbled together their plan to renovate Arrowhead Stadium, and that's a very attractive plan for many reasons for the Kansas City Chiefs as well. But they've got options now. They've got great options right now. And maybe Kansas is putting together a better plan than we've already seen from the state of Kansas. Maybe they're willing to pick up more of the tab on the stadium than originally proposed. And so all of this is getting worked out, and we'll see sooner rather than later where they end up. But the competition is good. It's great for the Chiefs. It's great for the Royals. I know that either state doesn't want to be in competition with each other, but them's the breaks. You could have solved all this by a vote a year ago, and I don't want to get into that, but this is where we are in this process right now.
What's the attraction to the renovation?
For who?
For the Chiefs. You said the Chiefs, in talks with Missouri about renovating Arrowhead, and that's kind of attractive to them as well. I mean, what is about that? I mean, you've mentioned that a lot.
History.
Okay. So it's like you talked about keeping his legacy.
And that's really it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I just think about that'd be a conversation that would probably come up again in another decade or so. Another renovation, right? You can only renovate an old stadium so much, and then how much of the
Look, I think it's foolish to renovate. At where we are with the 60-year-old stadium,
Me too.
I think it's foolish to put $1.5 billion into renovating a stadium when in about 15 or 20 years we're going to be having – because this is the second time now I've lived on the air during this stuff, right? The first time was 03, 04 when they finally got the renovations. I think, it'd be good for 20 years, 30 years, whatever it is. Well, here we are. We're on the end of that already. It happens overnight. And so I think it's foolish to invest $1.5 billion of money into renovating a 60-year-old stadium. But it's not my stadium. My dad didn't build that. That's not my childhood home. So what you're asking is what's the pull to stay and renovate? History, tradition. It's been in my family forever, my childhood home, all that emotional stuff.
And justifiable
that pulls
reasons.
On all of, absolutely, it is justifiable
reasons.
Yes.
Legitimate reasons.
Yes.
But does the ability and the potential to host a Super Bowl or a Final Four or a WrestleMania or huge concerts, does that supersede that at all for the Chiefs?
Who are you talking to?
For the Chiefs.
You talking to Clark? Are you talking to me? You talking to
Mark Donovan, I guess.
Mark
Donovan and Clark. It seems like it might for Mark from those words.
Yeah, like
in the letter.
Yeah, like to me, no, it doesn't. Like what's best for the region? What's best for the region is to build a new dome for the Chiefs. Whether it's on Kansas or Missouri land, I don't care. I don't want to get into that. The best thing for this region, to move our region forward, for us to grow, for Kathy Nelson's job to be easy, is to have that dome stadium. Because what it does for the area, what it can attract, Super Bowl, Final Fours. My friend Jim came over the other night. I was telling you guys about this the other day.
Jim.
And we're sitting there talking about everything, right? Life and whatnot. And he goes, I know you know this. He goes, but Municipal Auditorium, Kansas City's hosted more Final Fours and NCAA tournament games than anywhere in the world. I go, yeah, we know all that, right? But we're not allowed to do that anymore because we don't have the proper facility. The Final Four of the NCAA tournament is ours. It was born here. It was created here. It was invented here. Like, this is the home of that. Why don't we want a dome stadium where every 4 years we would get the Final Four?
Yeah.
We would absolutely get the Final Four every 4 years by having that dome stadium because of the history that college basketball has here. The big-time WrestleMania events. Taylor Swift, maybe she decides when she retires, residency at that dome.
A UFC fight.
UFC fights. You know, the options are endless of what you can have if you have that dome stadium. So if you're asking me what I would do, I would build a new dome stadium on either side of the state line because that's best for the region. That's best for us as residents. It brings events here.
Yeah.
And when events get brought here, people in the service industry that own restaurants, that run hotels, everything, everybody makes money, and it's good. It generates tax dollars, which in turn allows us to do so much more than what we're able to do right now. And so I think it's important. I think it's vital. I think the right thing is to build a new dome stadium because that's what I think is best for the region. The renovation stuff, look, if they end up renovating, which is fine, and I understand that, it's a little more cost effective. You're talking 1.5 in renovations versus 3 to build. It's half the cost. I get all that. But you're going to be back here in 20 years. I won't be. But, you know, there will be the conversations when Mac's doing this job in 20 years, sitting here, and I'm, you know, retired trying to figure out what my name is, and I'm drooling, and Mac will be calling, hey, remember 20 years ago when we talked about renovating? They're talking about it again. Right?
Bob, you still got those sources? Want to come on the show?
Maybe. What the hell was that? But that's why I don't like the renovation talk, because we're going to be here again. And we've already been here again. These were the conversations we were having 20 years ago about this stuff, right? And so here we sit, 20 years went by like that, like in a blink of an eye, that 20 years went by. And now we're talking about doing it again. And if you renovate, now you're talking about in another 20 years, how everything's going to change. And now you're talking about an 80-year-old stadium, essentially.
Tennessee, Nashville just went through this, right, with the whole voting, stadium, location. I don't have the exact numbers, but I should go get them for when this conversation progresses, as we know it will. However slowly it will. The economic impact that a dome stadium could have here is just astronomical,
huge.
Bob.
Yeah.
It's just astronomical. And I think, yes, it is sad. I'd be sad about a lot of things and the old Arrowhead and the memories and all those things. And I can't imagine the emotions that the Hunt family would have. And all of that is justified and should be a part of the conversation. But I think when you talk about moving up and progressing as a city and growing, and it's something that all of us want for Kansas City on both sides of the state line, a dome stadium would do that. And I think that's what matters, too. I think we get really divisive in these conversations as well. We got to figure out, hey, we're all Kansas City. We're all here. We're all rooting on the Chiefs.
Right.
That's what matters.
And we're all rooting on the Royals,
and
too,
the Royals,
right? Like,
exactly, whichever
because this is for both of these teams right now. It's about establishing and securing the long-term future of both of these franchises here in Kansas City, because nobody wants them to move, but you never know what's going to happen. So you need to take care of these facilities. The head of this, the Senate, Ty Masterson, he had this comment yesterday. The letter from Mark Donovan indicates that the drive to bring this historic project to Kansas is moving down the field. Now that we are in the red zone, this extension will provide stakeholders sufficient time to ensure the ball crosses the goal line. That's the state of Kansas saying that. They feel good about what happened yesterday. They really do. And Missouri seemingly was kind of they said it was like a gut punch yesterday, but you should have known this was happening. We told you 3 weeks ago it was happening. Sometimes you just have to listen. If you're going anywhere else for your stadium information, I hate to tell you, you're not getting the right information.
Yep, got to get it here. 6 to 10.
I mean, we've told you this whole process and how this whole thing was going to play out. And 3 weeks ago, I said, the Star Bonds will probably get extended to the end of the year. And then Missouri's like, oh my God, can you believe this is happening?
816 says, it may be better, quote, for the region, but it's best for Chiefs fans to preserve Arrowhead. There's no better game day experience in the NFL, and dome stadiums are sterile. I get where you're coming from. I'd miss the game day experience and stuff too. I understand.
What they're planning, if they do go to the Dome Stadium, it's going to be what they want. And the Chiefs are what they want by the fans. And what I mean by that is, months ago, I told you all to take that Chiefs survey about the stadium. It took about a half hour. It was a very in-depth survey. And the results that they got back were 3 things that fans wanted. Plenty of parking for tailgating, and the other one was loud, to make it loud, right? tailgating and loud and parking. Those are the three things that fans wanted. And they said they didn't care whether they built new or renovated Arrowhead Stadium. Those are the only things that matter. And because of how much noise matters in Kansas City and the loudness level and how that matters to fans, the Chiefs have factored that in when thinking about building that new dome. And I'll be honest with you, a roof over the top keeps things louder. It keeps things louder than an outdoor stadium where the sound just goes away like that vapor gasoline.
You do you do lose the snow games and the weather stuff. That's what I'd miss
But
the
if
most.
you have a retractable roof, you can leave that roof open. You don't have to have that thing closed.
You could.
Just because there's a roof on top of it. You can leave it open if you want to have the elements like that, which I think is fun every once in a while. I think the Miami game, they probably would have closed that thing off and people wouldn't have lost limbs. But I think, from a loudness standpoint, domes are loud. It's piercing loud in there. And I know people don't like change, but either way, whatever happens, it's going to be a different experience.
Yes.
Whether they renovate Arrowhead Stadium or whether they build a new dome stadium, it's going to be a different experience. It's never going to be the way that it is right now. And look, I know from having, our baseball trips and whatnot, how antiquated our stadiums truly are. And you've walked around that concourse at Arrowhead Stadium. You can't move.
It's crazy.
There's no room.
No.
There is no room on that lower level concourse for anything. You can't breathe. You can't walk. You can't go to the bathroom. It is packed with fans. Those things need to be rectified and changed.
Yeah,
and that comes with a new stadium. Lines
would
dissipate.
improve. Yeah, a lot of things would improve.
Yep.
Just as much as we can find the cons, I think we'd be surprised at how many pros there would be. I do caution the retractable roof and dome thing just because of the history of it. Doesn't get used a lot. People get a retractable dome. They don't ever use it. But, man, I hope you're right. That would be my biggest thing. I think that's what a lot of people I hear on the text line saying.
What are they saying?
Yeah, I mean, they're worried about, like I said, the weather and tailgating and losing some.
Tailgating is not getting lost if they build a new dome.
Yeah.
I promise you that. That was the number one thing that fans wanted, and the Chiefs are very in tune to what fans want. That's why they did that survey. What do you guys want? We want a loud stadium, we want tailgating, and we want parking.
816, can a dome seat 80,000? I don't think stadiums are being built to seat 80,000 anymore.
Not doing that anymore.
No,
There's no reason to.
And also, quantity doesn't equal sound. It's really the building.
Yeah.
It's really going to be the architecture there. Yeah, and then I think it's just a lot of texts about division and that we talked about, and Kansas, Missouri's Missouri. Hey, we're all here.
Dude, who the hell cares?
Yeah, what are we doing, man? I don't
Seriously,
know what we're
that's such an antiquated attitude.
It's very, I don't know.
It really is like it's an antiquated
trash.
attitude. What did you say?
I said it's trash.
Yeah.
It's just trash.
It is. It really is. Like, you've got to get over that. And that has held this region back for so long, people with that attitude. I'm not going if it's in Canton. Then don't go, bro. Like, seriously, don't go. And give me your name, and I'll pass it along to the Hunts or the Shermans, and we'll put you on a do not enter list. It's not that hard.
Well, Colin Cowherd doesn't even think we would need a dome or not this year because we won't make the playoffs. So we won't be playing in the cold weather teams because we're a wild card team at best, according to Colin Cowherd.
What the hell was that? Fine. You know what? Let's be a wild card team this year and go win the damn Super Bowl as a wild card team. Because then what's left? Like, what else can you continue to poke at if you're a Chiefs hater or somebody who's tired of the Chiefs? If they go out and get a wild card berth this year, they don't win the division, but they end up as the wild card and they win the Super Bowl. Now what are you going to say about this organization? Now what are you going to say about Patrick Mahomes, right? He's already gone on the road and swept the two biggest opponents in front of him and went out there and beat them in their own house and won a Super Bowl. He's done it here in Arrowhead and won a Super Bowl. Well, he's never won the Super Bowl as a wild card. Okay, fine. Let's check that off the list as well. Now what else are you going to come after Patrick Mahomes with, right? Like, everybody just keeps pushing the line and moving the line and pushing the line and moving the line of how we're going to ultimately judge Patrick Mahomes, judge this era of Chiefs football. And there are still some people out there who say it's not a dynasty, others who say the dynasty is over. And I'm thinking to myself, we're in the middle of this dynasty. We're right smack dab in the middle of everything that's going on with this dynasty. We are nowhere close to this type of dynasty ending. But you know what, Mac? I'll be honest with you. Go be a wild card team this year and go win the damn Super Bowl. and show everybody, okay, fine, we're a wild card team. Now we got to win 3 road games in the playoffs as opposed to 2 road games in the playoffs. Like, give me your list now, doubters and haters, and tell me what you still think Patrick Mahomes needs to accomplish, and let me give him that list so he can go check off all those boxes, and we can move this thing forward and say he's the greatest of all time. Can we just get to that point now?
Constantly, they'll move the goalposts again, Bob. They'll try and do it again. I mean, at first it was, he's got Tyreek and Travis. He's got so many weapons. All right, Tyreek's gone. Okay, he always gets the 1 or 2 seed. He gets to play at home. Okay, fine, we'll go on the road and we'll win all those games.
Right.
Oh, well, it's, it's the offensive line. Oh, don't have a great offensive line. Don't have great weapons. Okay, still go win. I mean, it's everything that happens. Patrick Mahomes just says, okay, hold my beer. I'll get that done. Seriously, I'll get that done. If that's what you're going to say that I can't do, fine. We'll do that the very next season. Colin Cowherd, I think Kansas City's a wild card team. I think the Chargers are going to be one of the best teams in the league, an 11 or 12 win team, and the Chiefs come into the season with offensive line issues.
It's 2-day.
Have we not been let in on the joke to pick the Chargers every year? Like, is there a meeting like at that Barrett Summit where they all talk about like picking the Chargers?
It was the Fanatics Fest, actually.
Was it a Fanatics Fest? Is that where they do that?
Yeah.
Where all of the talk show hosts get around and decide like we're gonna pick the Chargers again this year?
Yeah.
Like, where do these meetings take place? Where do the idiot meetings take place? Right? Like, where do these people line up and go, okay, the Chargers are here. Can I have some more, please? Of the Chargers. They've done nothing. But they're the greatest team since sliced bread. They're better than Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Based on what?
Last year's Super Bowl blowout loss marked the end of the Chiefs' dynasty.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Yep, marked the end of the dynasty. It is over, right? The Chiefs dynasty is done. I want to know where these people are lining up to get their takes because they are ridiculous. They are bad.
Yeah.
You cannot pick against the Chiefs until the Chiefs show you to pick against them. And they haven't done that in the last decade, and I don't expect that to start now. So
From the 913. CDOT runs the meeting. Hey! Love it.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. That's
Take the
good.
day.
I like that. Yeah. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Coming up here, I need help. I need a lot of help, right? We know that. But I need your top bands for summer. My wife asked me yesterday, she goes, what's our summer playlist? I'm like, I don't know. So I need help. What are the best bands for summer? We'll talk about that next.
You're listening to Fescoe and Dusty. Make sure to follow us on Instagram @TheFan965 for behind-the-scenes content from the show. Kansas City's FM sports station, 96.5. The Fan.
Well, I'll tell you what, my friends over at Park & Go are ready for you. And when you're headed out on your summer vacation, you need to leave your car at Park & Go because they are going to make sure that your car is protected from everything. All covered parking first and foremost. So your car is always protected. It doesn't matter if the sun's beating down or it's raining, your car is going to stay clean and protected at Park & Go. So you make your reservation after you make your flight reservation at bookparkandgo.com for that covered parking spot. Then you're going to prepay because you're going to save money when you do that. Then on the day of your flight, you get there and you drive to that covered parking spot they have reserved specifically for you. Pull in that spot, and within seconds, the van is taking you right to the airport terminal, and you are there in no time at all. And then when you get back, you're tired, you're stressed, you just want to get home, you don't want to wait for a bus. You don't have to with Park & Go. Just grab your bags, walk outside, there's the bus, jump on it, right back to the trunk of your car. So do what we did and join their frequent Parker program and earn points towards free parking. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. The best deals in parking. Bookparkandgo.com. Park & Go, family owned and operated.
Say hello to Wendy's new 2-for-4 Biggie Bundle. Choose from the JBC made with fresh, never frozen beef, crispy chicken sandwich, 6-piece nugs, or small soft drink. Any two for just $4. It's like the reunion special you've been waiting for, but the only drama is watching you try to pick just two. For a deal as fresh as the meal, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only. Participating U.S. Wendy's. Request 2 for $4 Biggie Bundles to obtain discounts. Individual items at regular price. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S. Alaska.
At Casey's, we're too nice to say no. So when someone asked for a free frozen drink, we said sure. Then they said every Friday all summer. And well, now we're giving away free medium frozen drinks every Friday. Free frozen Fridays with Casey's Rewards. It's not crazy. It's Casey's. See store for details.
Add some star-spangled style to your summer with Ashley's Stars and Stripes sale. Going on now. Shop Hot Buys for every room in your home. Now just $6.99 $299. Plus, you can save up to $1,000 store-wide. And don't miss upgrading your patio. Save up to 20% on select outdoor furniture. Or feel the freedom to buy now and pay over time with 0% interest until 2030 on in-store purchases made with your Ashley Advantage Synchrony credit card. Only at Ashley. Subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Hereth my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot doot, and sometimes it's like grrr.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh yeah.
Then we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the grrr.
Not with Fix Finder. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies the same item, current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Kansas side, 35 southbound, a little sluggish from 75th Street down towards the split with 69 highway. Northbound lanes moving better. Earlier stalled before 75th Street has cleared. Alan Carr, 96.5 The Fan. Traffic.
'Cause I wanna get high, but you're keeping me low. I don't got time to waste, the time to kill. I've had too much to think. I wanna get high, but you're taking me down, down, down. Don't got time to waste, the time to kill. I've had too much to think. Illuminate the shadows and try to keep the light within.
Rolling through Friday here on 96.5 The Fan. Why this song, Mac?
This is a song that I like to listen to in the summer, baby. This is Too Much to Think by 311.
And 311, I'm glad you play it because I think they are the perfect summertime band. I really do.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're so perfect for it,
They really
man.
are. It reminds me of college. It reminds me of Rock and Ron, our stoner bus driver, who unfortunately went to Vietnam and never really came back from Vietnam. But, I mean, he was the best. And anybody who lived on Stewart Ave in Lawrence, Kansas in the 90s knows Rock and Ron. And, I mean, that guy was the best. Long ponytail, Freedom Rock dude.
Heck yeah.
Had his boombox on the bus.
Let's go.
And every once in a while, 311 would come on, and that was kind of, his jam.
Nice.
And he'd be jamming out to Bob Marley and everything. I mean, it was the best. He would drive us on pub crawls and whatnot. And then on Friday, when you're coming back from the wheel drunk and you're meandering around campus and don't know where you are, he yells out the bus, "Get on the bus, Fatso!" Then you get on the bus, and Rock and Ron takes you right home. It was beautiful. I mean, and then his wife was Rock and Rana. He was, yes, Rana. And Rana used to mow the lawn at the Teak House for us. So let me tell you, that was quite a sight.
Oh, wow.
Rana, to make some extra money, would mow the lawns of all the fraternity houses along the street.
Locked, cocked, and ready to rock.
And I love Ron, and he passed away. But I mean,
it's
he
too bad.
was. I mean, everybody knew who Rock and Ron was at KU back in the day, and that's kind of where I was.
awesome.
I don't want to say exposed to 311, but that's where I was exposed to 311. And I was listening to it
That's
yesterday.
cool.
I've got a friend who the number 11 is big in her world, and we were talking about it yesterday. And I just started jamming out to 311 yesterday afternoon as I was kind of just sitting outside and enjoying the weather that was out there. So I think 311 is really probably the best when it comes to summertime bands. Like this song? I hope there's no swears in it. Yeah, Don't Stay Home by 311, one of the classics from 1995. So I do. I think they are kind of that perfect summertime band. And I saw this list on, I think it was Yardbarker yesterday. They're like the top 25 bands of summer. And I'm like, oh man, I'm going to get into this. And, because every once in a while, like every 6 months or so, you kind of need that new playlist, and you need to freshen things
Refresh it
up.
up.
And,
Yep.
we're starting to compile the tailgate playlist for next year or for this year, I guess. You got a couple of months to the start of the season. And so starting to compile that playlist. But I want to know from the text line, the Jay's Southland Tow Service text line, what are your summertime bands, man? Who's on that list? And I'm going to keep a running tally over here and probably create some sort of playlist because my wife did. She said the other day, she goes, what's our playlist for the summer? I'm like, I don't know. We got to figure that out. So who you got on your list, Mac?
Well, you mentioned Bob Marley a little bit.
Yeah.
I'd say Bob Marley's on there. 311's top of my list. I'd say anything, I don't know why, classic rock for whatever reason, like harder classic rock.
Yeah.
Like AC/DC, Journey, things like that. Maybe
I
Boston.
I don't consider Journey or Boston hard rock at all.
Harder on the classic side, you wouldn't?
No, look. You hear them on it's rock, but I don't think that's hard rock. I think it's lighter.
Okay, so Metallica probably.
Yeah, that's hard rock.
Okay,
yeah. Heavy
Okay.
metal.
Yeah, heavy metal. Okay, I guess I'm
Yeah.
saying harder on the classic side of the rocks. I know they're probably, yes. They're not hard rock, so that's
Yeah.
fair. But I guess Boston, Journey, and then 1975's got such a discography for like everything. They've got like winter songs, and then they've got a lot of songs for me that vibe with the summer and being outside. So I'd say 1975's on that list as well.
Those are some good ones. Sublime is on the list for me.
Okay, we got a text on that one.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Rusted Root will always be on my list of kind of summertime songs because,
Don't know that
again,
one. Write that down.
it's memories, right? Like all your senses are tied together, just like Dayton says all of our successes are tied together, right? All of our senses are tied together, and certain songs remind you of certain things. Rusted Root, Send Me On My Way, will remind me of Dollar Pitcher Night at the Crossing back in the 90s in Lawrence. And so if you were on that little deck, bringing your own pitcher to get dollar pitchers, Rusted Root was always playing. Reminds me of the good old days, right? So I like them. Weezer, I think, is a good summertime
that's
band.
a great one.
The Blue album where they did all the covers.
Yes.
It's phenomenal.
Fantastic. Yeah,
I
I'm gonna
mean,
listen to them today now.
it is a phenomenal album that they have, that Blue album with all the covers. Unbelievable job by them. And then you're going to laugh, and I don't care.
Okay.
Pitbull.
Pitbull.
Yes.
Gasolina. I mean, hey, you're not wrong.
It's
He's
fun, right?
He's
It's fun. It's a
That's
lot of
great.
fun.
That's awesome.
And then also I like Chicago.
Okay.
I think they have the best horn section in the history of music. And I'm sure there's some debate on people would debate that, but my God, find me a better horn section than what the dudes at Chicago have. I'd love to hear it.
We've got some text. Incubus came in.
Okay.
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
That's
is
a good one,
popular
too,
I think
yeah.
that is a popular one. I've seen a couple of these, and I'll have to. Obviously, I know of him, but haven't listened to a lot of his music. Steely Dan.
Steely Dan's a band. Yeah, it's not an individual. Yeah, but that's good. That's fine.
But yeah, I haven't heard much of them, so I'll have to get into them. Limp Bizkit.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. I don't know about summer, but I think that's fair. They're fun.
Yeah, I don't know that that's a summer song.
Yeah, they're just kind of, they're good. I like them, but I don't know if that's summer. Jack Johnson's a great one. I am a
good
big
one, yeah.
Jack Johnson guy. So summer morning, that'd be good. Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah.
Could see that. Styx. Interesting.
Styx.
Come Sail Away in the summer, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know. Pearl Jam.
Good one.
Great one.
Yeah.
Yes, outside rocking out to some Pearl Jam. That is a vibe for sure. Counting Crows.
Really good. I told you
Okay.
I'm on a Counting Crows kick now.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm not familiar with them that well at all either. So I'll
That's
have to
the Einstein egg falling song. Counting Crows, August and Everything After. You know, Round Here, Omaha.
Yeah, I know, they're made like
Okay.
Mr. Jones.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know
yeah.
that. Yeah. But
you like Mr. Jones? We can't be friends.
yeah, I'm that guy.
You're
Sorry.
Sorry. Speaking of that guy, Dave Matthews. The Dave Matthews Band is a good summer.
That's a great one. Wish Hannah and I could have seen them live, but we left the festival a day early. I would like to see them. Zach Brown Band, seen that a few times. That's a great one.
Good one.
That's a good one. Motley Crue, that's kind of what I was thinking of. Yes, that sort of classic rock. Yes, I would not say they're a hard rock band, but yes, that sort of grungy classic rock style. Sublime again. Kenny Chesney.
I was going to say, I'm surprised it took this long
There we
for
go.
Kenny Chesney to pop on that list. I'm not a huge, that's not my genre of music, but I know it's great for a lot of people. They love it. I put Jimmy Buffett well ahead of Kenny Chesney for that.
That's fair. Yeah, for summer specifically. Sum 41. I love Sum 41. Check out the band, the 1975. Yes, 913. Completely agree. Will Smith from another 913.
You know, I can't listen to him anymore after the slapping incident.
Really?
Man.
You're out. He just came out with a new song.
Is it any good?
It's okay. It's not bad. I mean, it's not good, but like it's like his other music, right? It's kind of fun. Whatever.
Like every time I've got it on one of my playlists, summertime. I'm like, Skip, get away from me. I don't know what it is. Like that just sent me in the wrong direction, man. Like ever since he did that, I'm just like, I'm out on this guy.
Did y'all talk about that on the radio the next day?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Yeah, that would be the lead for me. I mean, that was crazy.
Yeah.
That was an insane thing that happened. Soundgarden.
Good one. Yeah.
The Beatles' Magical Mystery Tour in particular. I like that. Fish.
Fish is another good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Would you put the Dead on that list then too?
Probably. Yeah. 913, here we go. It took this long, but Cake has a way better horn section, Bob.
Okay. Look, Cake's got a great horn section. I think Cake's a great summer band too.
That's
Fashion
another band
Nugget
that
is
I'll
one of
have
the
to
best
dive into
albums.
more. Okay.
Yeah,
Which one?
Fashion Nugget. Yellow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a great.
Putting
album.
it on the Spotify right now.
Yeah.
I will jam it out. Love it.
And then, of course, you've got the ever-popular Squirrel Nut Zippers that you can put on here.
Okay, I'll do that.
Anybody putting that on their list?
913 tells you to ask me the origin of Steely Dan. So I'll get you that.
Yeah.
The Beach Boys.
Yeah.
Great one. Great one.
Very good one. Yeah. Looking at some of these others on the list. Sugar Ray, they have Everclear. 311.
Sugar
makes
Ray's
the
a good
list.
one, too.
Yeah, Sugar Ray is a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, he's still doing it. He's still killing it.
He's everywhere.
Yeah, he is, man. He's more popular, it seems now. He's like had a resurgence in these last couple months. I don't know why.
All over the place, from doing game shows to popping up everywhere.
A lot of podcasts, too.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's good for him. We saw him live not too long ago either. He was really good.
Was he?
Yeah, he actually was. We thought it'd be cringy and a little bit like, I don't know, Glory Days-esque, but it wasn't. He was funny. He was self-deprecating to a point, because he knows he's not what, rock stars age, a little weird. You're not what you were.
Where did you
look
see
different.
him?
We were at that music festival in Ocean City, Maryland.
Okay, so it was a music festival. Yeah. Because I saw when I was watching Skeens versus Miz the other day, like Nelly's performing in the post-game concert tonight in Milwaukee. That's the start of, like, falling down the ladder. Like, when you're getting booked at the end of a baseball game, it goes like...
That's true.
Like that's like Nelly was huge, and now so much time has passed. It happens to everybody. You don't need a Arrowhead Stadium type of venue to sell out Nelly anymore, right? So he's doing like the after baseball concert, and then it goes to be like state fair. Then you're at the county fair level. Once you're playing the ballroom at the casino in Topeka, Kansas. Who did Ralph see at the ballroom in Topeka, Kansas recently? And he's like, yeah, in the back of the ballroom, they like had the buffet left out from earlier in the day, and everybody was eating off the buffet that was left out. And I forget who he said it was. I'm like, they're playing the casino in Topeka?
That's crazy.
At this point in time? Like, that's when you know it's probably about time to put this away. Local casino, random town in the middle of nowhere.
Hang it up.
And we got Nelly tonight, in Ottumwa, Iowa, playing the Terrible's Casino. What? Oh my God, that's where we are now. You got to get out, man. So the end, like Vanilla Ice did it a couple of years ago at the K. It was great. It was fun. Very self-deprecating. Very self-deprecating. And that's the way you got to be. You have to understand kind of where you are in your life.
Yeah,
at this
time passes,
right?
things change.
Yes, they do. And now you're playing the state fair. Local casino is next.
But Frankie Valli's still doing it, so
that was sad.
That is sad,
it's like you don't want to be that guy.
No. Someone's got to get in his ear.
Yeah, just like they did with Lee Corso. I mean, somebody has to tell you it's time.
And that was probably too late.
Yeah, we did that to Josh a year ago. Coming up, I kid. Coming up here on 96.5 The Fan, we do our Richards of the Week, and that is next.
Hey, it's Michael Waka, and you're listening to Fescoe and Dusty on your home for Royals baseball, 96.5 The Fan.
Oh,
I can hear the sizzle of the grill. It's time to buy Gates sauces and try extra hot at your 4th of July cookout or use as an enhancement for your special dips and your family's secret sauce. Try Gates salad seasoning on raw and cooked veggies or sprinkle on your grilled corn on the cob for that extra flavor pop. Pick up a couple of slabs of ribs or a party tray to entertain at home. Whichever. Gates Barbecue has you covered. Gates 5 locations are open and want to be a part of your 4th of July celebration. Gates Barbecue. Thanks with love.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait 1 sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement $999.99 and qualifying forwarded. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay off via virtual prepaid card below 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Kansas side, K10 eastbound, slows briefly from Woodland over past Ridgeview. Missouri side, 71 northbound, sluggish from 75th to Gregory. You may have to tap the brakes on the east side, 70 westbound, heading past Jackson Avenue with construction. Alan Carr, 96.5 The Fan, traffic.
This is the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your new home for Royals baseball. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Friday morning here on 96.5 The Fan. Fescoe and Dusty and Mac with you. Dusty off today. Mac is in. And in for Dusty. You're doing two jobs today. Look at you.
Double duty, baby. Let's go.
Has it been difficult?
No, it's been fun.
Mac's awesome. Yeah, he really is. No doubt about that. Looking like a nice weekend shaping up. Hope to get out on the boat a little bit today with Ralph later on and cruise around and have a couple of surf sides and enjoy the afternoon and, you know, just kind of take it easy and relax. And that's the way you got to do some things sometimes. Just kind of chill out. We got 4th of July coming up. And I don't know if you've started to notice it, but you can tell people are starting to go away on vacation. You know,
oh, yeah, it's happening.
It's happening all over. And you can start to see people are in that mindset of vacation. I'll be off all next week. We're off Thursday and Friday as a show anyway, so
you've got about like a month or so, right, left of the get them in.
Well, yeah, this is
and it's time.
Yeah, and then we got Fescoe Fest in middle of July down in Houston, so we're looking forward to that. It's always it's a huge celebration down there in Houston. My wife and I go down, and it's a 3-day celebration of us. And each year, more and more. You want to come? You're more than welcome to attend Fescoe Fest.
Yeah,
it's at the Watson Farm.
Oh, no way.
Oh, yeah. It's fantastic.
Watson,
yes! Every year, so September 18th to the 20th this year down in Texas, we'll be having Fescoe Fest, and we don't know what it entails other than a lot of fun. And so if you'd like to attend Fescoe Fest, contact Gene, and he'll get you in touch with his travel agent, and you can book the flights. And so once Fescoe Fest is over, we come back, and then training camp starts on like the 22nd, right?
I think it's the 22nd.
22nd, yeah. So Fescoe Fest is the last moment of summer.
It's your last hurrah.
It is, and then we get into training camp and get down to the nuts and bolts of everything when it comes to the Chiefs. We'll get to our Richard of the Week here in a moment, but I want to kind of touch on this for a second. You know, I'm a big history buff, right? How somebody becomes a buff, I don't know, but I became a history buff. And one of the cool follows on Twitter, I think anyway, and again, I like history, and if you don't, then it wouldn't be good for you, but it's Baseball History Nut. And it's at @nut_history. And it's all baseball history and stories and just stuff about the game from, you know, the romanticized past of Major League Baseball, right? And this one, I think, is very apropos for a number of reasons. It's a picture of Zach Greinke in a Dodger uniform, and the Dodgers are coming to town. And this is fantastic. Here's what the post says. I had not heard this story, okay? And so I hope this is a true story. Zach Greinke once told Alex Gordon that he wanted to show him something in the video room. When an excited Gordon arrived, Greinke queued up a video of himself hitting a home run. He simply told Gordon, do more of that.
Nice. That's awesome.
But that's Zach in a nutshell.
That's awesome.
That's Zach in a nutshell. One of the conversations I had with him in the early days, I remember just him and I in the dugout. And he told me, he goes, this baseball's boring. And, and it was right about that time where he took the break from the game. And he was kind of talking to me about that. I didn't realize that at the time. I was, in my early 20s. What did I know about, people having these kinds of conversations? And I look back now, I go, man, he was kind of like starting to have a conversation with me about real life stuff, a little foreshadowing about that kind of stuff. And he took that break, came back, and became one of the greatest pitchers in the history of baseball and should go into the Hall of Fame wearing a Royals hat. But if he told, like him telling Alex Gordon, just do more of that, is so Zach Greinke, it's not even funny. Like, that's him to a T. That's what he would do. He made the game easy. He wanted to play shortstop. He wanted to hit. He wanted to do all that, and he could. That's the other thing. He was really, really good at all of that, and really never got the opportunity because in those days, obviously the pitcher didn't hit, and you took away that side of the game from him. And so he wanted to hit. So he calls in Alex. He says, do more of that. I think we need to call Zach Greinke and bring him here to Kansas City today, and for him to show that video and to tell the entire team, do more of that. And I know it sounds simple, but the Royals are doing it the hard way right now. There's too much information. They're overloading these guys with stats, with trends, with all of this. The Zach Greinke approach is the George Brett approach. Try less. Don't try so hard. Don't have a case of the try too hard. Just go out there and do more of that. Hit the home runs, hit the base hits, make it easy on yourself. And that's Zach simplifying things right there for Alex Gordon. Because I'm sure at that point in time, I mean, when was Zach and Alex here together? It was probably later in his career, right? Because Alex and Zach probably didn't have that crossover point, maybe briefly, in 08, 09. And then he goes in there and tells Alex Gordon to do more of that. And maybe that's something that ultimately unlocked Alex Gordon. Who knows, right? You start to laugh a little bit. You relaxed a little bit more. You're not putting so much pressure on yourself. That's what this ball club needs right now. They don't need any more analytics. They don't need anything more about their hard hit rate. Stats are a justification for failure. And I will go to my grave saying that. Stats are a justification for failure. Oh, he hit it 105 off the bat. Yeah, but it's an out. Who cares? Yeah. Oh, look at his launch angle. It was so high. Yeah, but it's an out. He didn't get on base. He's not hitting with runners in scoring position. I don't care what his VORP is. I don't care what any of that is. Stats are a justification for failure, and you have to keep that in mind. Bill Belichick famously said stats are for losers, right? And I'm saying it a little more eloquently than Bill Belichick did, but I agree 100%. Stop focusing on that kind of stuff and make the game easier for these guys. We need to slow it down a little bit for them. We need to take the pressure off of them. I would absolutely find Zach Greinke right now and bring him in here to kind of let the air out a little bit for this organization. Just go out there and be like Alex Gordon. Do more of that. Show these guys their successes and then say, do that. That's all you have to do. Everybody wants to make things hard. Everybody wants to make things difficult because everybody wants to be the smartest man in the room. I'm going to take credit for that. I told them at the outside edge of the plate with the spin rate here, they could go like this. No. Show these guys the successes that they've had because they've all had it. Bobby's had it. Vinny's had it. Salvi's had it. Show them all the successes that they've had and go, just go do that, man. Put yourself in the mindset when you were doing this. Show Bobby all his at-bats from July of last year, right?
Exactly.
And show him all these at-bats. Hey, we put this together. This is you having success. We know you're not playing great right now. You're not. But here's when you were playing great. What were you doing there? Why was it working there? Rewind your mind. Go back to July of last year. Don't worry about these analytics. They're stupid. They're useless. Go back to when you were hitting the ball well. What were you doing? What were you thinking about? What was going on in your mind? Yeah, I don't know. I was just taking it one day at a time, playing easy baseball, going out there and playing like I was a kid again. Good. Go do that again.
Do that.
Do more of that, Bobby.
Probably thinking about smashing that baseball. That's what he was thinking about.
Yeah.
It feels like we're cramming for a test that we're about to take an hour before that we've already studied for, and now we've got jumbled up notes, and I'm looking at flashcards again, and the test starts in 30 minutes, and then I get to the test, and then I get a question that I would have known last night had I just stopped studying, but instead I decided to cram, and now I've got 4 different things in my head, and now I got the answer wrong. Now it's passed. We just got to slow everything down. They already know the answers to the test.
Mm-hmm. And that's a good analogy because I always remember back in college, like you'd be cramming and you'd get to that point of the night, and we were all there, right? You get to that point of the night where you're like just mentally exhausted, and you can feel the exhaustion because it's your mind. You know how it gets when you get tired, and you go to bed, and then you wake up, and all that stuff now is retained in your mind.
Fresh.
I can't tell you how many times I woke up after going to bed not knowing squat about this test the next day, waking up and going, oh, I remember all of this
makes sense now.
Because I got rest. I slept. I didn't continue to cram. I didn't continue to stack my brain with more useless information about heart hit rate. I just went out there and relaxed, and I played the game. And they don't like when I simplify this. Believe me, ask Nick Prado. They don't like it when you simplify things for them because they think you're kind of demeaning what they do for a living. I'm not demeaning anything. I'm explaining the way to get it done. All these great baseball players over the years, why were they great? They relaxed. They were confident at the plate. There's no confidence in this team right now. You got to get confident. How do you get confident? Seeing success. How do you see success? Go back to when you were having that success, man.
Basketball players do it all the time.
Do they?
Oh, yeah. The 3-point slump or whatever. I'm going to go watch my highlights real quick. Yeah, I'm that guy. I'm that dude.
That's smart.
Oh,
That's it.
Richard, I'm so happy. Hold me. Richard of the Week.
Not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
All right, Richard of the Week is all brought to you by our friends over at Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka and Surfside Lemonade and Vodka, proud partner of the Kansas City Royals. Each can of Surfside is just 100 calories. The best part is there are 0 bubbles. Mac, I'm going to let you get started first.
Okay, and I stocked up on Surfside yesterday. I got my teas ready to go for the weekend. I'm excited. It's great when it's hot outside like it is now. My Richard of the Week, man, it's easy. It was given to me on Wednesday. It's George Pickens. What a D, man. This guy makes a youth camp. It's about to happen, and then all of a sudden it comes out. The Pittsburgh Steelers, or rather this organization that he's doing it through, has to come out and say, hey, we're really sorry for all you kids that want to meet George Pickens and, are kind of admiring him, trying to have a work ethic like him, look up to him, and spent your parents' money to come to this football camp. Sorry, he's not actually going to come.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where. He's not showing up. And then I don't know where Pat Fryermuth says, you know what, I've got it. I'm going to step in. Not my camp, not my, admirers, not my fans, but it's Pittsburgh, it's the Steelers, it's the culture, and I'm going to step up and we're going to take care of these kids. Others Pittsburgh Steelers did as well. So kudos to Pat Fryermuth, George Pickens, total D-bag, Richard of the Week.
Yeah, that is bad, man. Like, you got traded, you wanted to be out, but you've already committed to this camp.
Yes, you committed.
And you've got to be there for the kids. You got to do it for the kids. They're looking forward to that.
Yeah, man.
And taking that joy away from them because you are a selfish human being, that's not fair. I was talking to somebody the other day that is a coach, and he's switching locations. And he said, I said, when are you leaving? And he said, oh, it's going to be a while. I want to make sure I take care of all the stuff that the kids have committed to. Before I switch locations and move my practice or whatever you want to call it to a different location. He said, I said, when's your last day? He goes, when I get all the stuff taken care of with the kids, everything that they signed up for will be executed because I'm not going to cheat the kids.
That's awesome. That's what matters.
That's the way you do things. That's the way you live your life. Not like George Pickens. Not like him at all. My Richard of the Week comes from the airline industry.
Oh, surprise, surprise.
Shockingly enough.
What happened this time?
From the Daily Loud, overweight man wearing a Garfield shirt gets dragged off a plane after demanding he get an emergency exit seat due to his weight. Being fat does not guarantee you an exit row. If you're overweight and can't fit into the seat, you know whose fault that is? Yours. It's not the airline's fault. And it sure is not the other passenger's fault on that plane who are just trying to get from point A to point B. And they are dragging this man down the aisle by his hands, and he went limp. He pulled a child. This guy is legitimately limp.
Wow, dead weight?
Dead weight.
Come on.
And the police and the flight attendants are all pulling this guy down the aisle and off the plane, therefore making everybody else's life miserable. And when you act up on a flight and you think that it's all about you, you're affecting the other roughly 170 passengers on that plane that have somewhere else to be, and not on a plane while your fat carcass is being drugged down an aisle because you're demanding the exit row seat because you're overweight and you're wearing a Garfield shirt.
And think about it. I mean, you're affecting, the next people that are going to use that flight at the next
That's
airport.
right.
170, you're affecting the crew on the tarmac, and
Right.
you're affecting a lot of things right now.
Yeah.
You're holding everything up because you think you deserve something.
Right, and you deserve nothing. The seat is the seat, and if you don't like that seat, then by all means, maybe you pay for,
Yeah, you
for
upgrade.
You upgrade, go to first class. And if you can't afford that, well, then I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, you and the way you are is not something that should impact the way that others have to deal with you. And if you want the exit row seat, upgrade to the exit row seat, upgrade to first class. But to go limp in the middle of a plane on the aisle and have to be drug off by the police and flight attendants, you're a Richard. There's no other way to put it. And good point about all the post effects that's going to have, because that plane's going somewhere else. Those passengers are going to be delayed. That ground, and it just has
Someone's trying to land, and they can't. I mean, everything's happening. Come on.
Right. Somebody's waiting for this gate, like all that kind of stuff. The trickle-down
Garfield
effect
reruns,
is huge.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. So this guy, geez, man. Just sit in your seat and shut up. We all have somewhere to go, Coming up, the Royals are at the halfway point, and Ben Roethlisberger joins the dumb list. We'll tell you why next.
Fescoe and Dusty. Subscribe and watch the show on YouTube by going to our channel at The Fan 965, Kansas City's FM sports station, 96.5 The Fan.
This is Jeff for Hartland Men's Health, where we've successfully treated thousands of men for low testosterone and helped them feel like their old selves again. Please take a moment and listen to how we help this patient.
Hi, my name is John, and I've been on ED and testosterone treatment at Hartland Men's Health for the past 15 months. I could tell, I was starting to go downhill, and my wife kept telling me, well, you need to go to a clinic that'll specialize in that. And that's what eventually led me into the men's clinic here. Treatment, in my opinion, is a miracle. I was able to perform to an elevated position that, quite honestly, I never thought I'd see again. For my fellow men out there, if you're feeling that you're not up to par, I encourage you, contact Hartland Men's Health, and you will see a dramatic difference.
Thank you. It's true. Your initial appointment includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and, in rare cases, fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Every success you've had began with a great opportunity. Now there's another one. Last aid year, University of Maryland Global Campus awarded over $21 million in scholarships to qualified students, including community college students, service members, veterans, and working adults. Now is the time to move your career forward with an online and accredited skills-based education. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
You know the national parks, but you may not know that they're supported by a strong foundation. A foundation for the future. We are the National Park Foundation. And together with your support, we are building a bold future where national parks are vibrant, protected, and welcoming. Today, tomorrow, forever. Learn more at nationalparks.org/foundation.
College football summer is no time to slouch because we are taking you to school on the Cover 3 podcast, part of the CBS Sports Podcast Network. It's time for our annual summer school series as we take time to break down some of your favorite teams with experts and insiders who know these depth charts from top to bottom. But summer school is just extra credit as we go through positional drafts, player rankings, and more. Follow and listen to the Cover 3 podcast on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
It's the spring sales event at Rob Sight Ford, and I'm here with the man himself, Rob Sight. Rob, you already stole the spotlight. Now what are you trying to take?
Just your attention, Kevin, and maybe a few trade-ins. Now, we've got up to $14,000 off new Fords with employee pricing, plus our own dealer discount.
14 grand. That's hotter than your Sunday barbecue.
Exactly. And unlike your burgers, these deals won't dry out. We've got hard-to-find inventory, huge trade-in values, and our non-commissioned sales team makes everything so easy.
No pressure, just real help. Even I'll admit it, it's the best place in Kansas City to buy a car, and I don't hand out compliments lightly, or seconds.
That's a fact. And don't forget, we're Kansas City's top-rated Ford dealer on Google. 4.8 stars, nearly 3,000 reviews, and 0 grill marks.
All right, Rob, I'll give it to you, man. You're cooking up some real value over there.
Come see us at 135th and State Line or visit robsight.com. But hurry, these deals are sizzling and inventory's moving fast.
And tell him Rob sent you. No guarantees, but he might throw in a hot dog.
Today, the upcoming forecast shows a high of 91 with a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms.
Weather brought to you by Staples. Have you heard? The Staples Easy button is back with even more easy. Press it for custom prints, shipping services, even passport photos. Staples. That was easy.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Closer to the weekend. It looks a little cloudy out there right about now, but I think it's supposed to be a gorgeous, gorgeous weekend taking place here in Kansas City. But a little bit cloud cover right now, that's not a big deal. Cool things off a little bit, and let's get excited about what's going to happen as we approach Saturday and Sunday and get ready for that 4th of July holiday that is coming up a week from today. And so we'll talk about Ben Roethlisberger being added to the dumb list here in a moment, but I just kind of want to pick up where we left off with the Royals in our last segment, talking about getting back to making things easier. We've reached a halfway point. We were legitimately through 81 games of the season so far for the Royals, and the overall grade that I give them, I think I'm grading a little bit generously maybe on this one. I know I'm giving them a better grade than Mac is giving them. I'm giving them a D- on the season, and the only reason I'm not giving them an F right now on the season is because that starting pitching has been just dynamite for the Royals. It has been spectacular to see the way that these guys go out and pitch every single night. And it hasn't mattered who's on the mound, whether it's Lorenzen, whether it's Lugo, whether it's Waco, whether it's Reagans when he's healthy, whether it's Chris Bubich, whether it's Cameron. These guys have gone out and flat out dealt, man. They have been absolutely astounding from a starting pitching standpoint. But there really hasn't been much else to take away that's worthy of, giving a higher letter grade to than a D-. And the reason I don't give them a total F is because of that starting pitching. And the reason I do lean towards a lower grade in the first half of the season is because they said they were going to be a playoff team. And as we sit here right now, this organization is anything other than a playoff team. And it's really hard to look around this diamond and say, other than guys who are in that starting rotation and maybe Estevez in the bullpen, how many people really do get passing grades right now? I don't think any of your everyday hitters other than Michael Garcia deserves a passing grade at this point in time because they haven't lived up to what they're supposed to be as big league hitters. They're not getting the job done with the runners in scoring position. Bobby Witt has not been very good this year. Salvi hasn't been
in
good
terms
this
of Bobby
year.
Witt standards, not even close.
Yeah, but you're paying him $300 million
Exactly.
a
Yeah,
year.
so that's the standard.
Sorry, I hate to be that
Yes.
guy, but you're getting paid with the big boys. You've got to produce like the big boys. You
100%.
can't have ups and downs. Like when you get that money, you have got to live up to that money. You have got to produce to that money that they're paying you. They gave you that money for a reason, whoever that athlete is, right? That's why some of these long-term deals in baseball, like the Albert Pujols deal and these 10-year deals, have gone downhill because guys get the contracts and then they don't live up to those contracts, right? And I've had many general managers in baseball say, it's not when you pay the player, it's who the player is that you're paying. You have to make sure that they're going to still go out there and earn that. And Bobby is that guy. He's just having a struggle fest this year, and he's not finding a way out of it because everybody else is having a struggle fest as well with Bobby Witt. But it's time to hold the players accountable. This is not a front office issue. This is not a Q issue. This is not a hitting coach issue. This is a player issue. Players play, and they have to go out there and play and put on their big boy pants and step it up and say, I'm tired of not getting the job done like I'm capable of doing, and it's up to them to turn it around. I appreciate Vinny's words yesterday. I appreciate Q's words yesterday. But why am I going to believe you're going to come out and start raking? It's 81 games. We're at the halfway point. You've yet to rake this year. You just can't flip that switch and turn it on. And now you've got the big bad Dodgers coming in this weekend. So I give them a D-, buoyed by their starting pitching, which is just, I don't have enough great superlatives to talk about with that starting pitching. That's what makes this so difficult.
Yeah.
Is that we're never going to have good starting pitching like this again. This is an anomaly. I mean, just look at it. This doesn't happen every year for any organization.
No, and I guess that's why I give it an F, because they've let it down so often. This is the worst offense in franchise history from a runs per game perspective. They're dead last in home runs. You look at what happened last year into this year, they added. Things didn't go away. I mean, they haven't had injuries, Bob. Other than Cole Reagans, this team's been healthy, and you mentioned it, the pitching has been there. Reagans didn't go away, and the pitching went down. The pitching has been there and more. So I'm giving it an F because of the standards that were set, the lack of identity on offense, and the lack of improvement. It's arguably gotten worse these past few weeks rather than better, Bob.
Yeah, it really has. And you know, it's to the point now where we have to stop saying JJ needs to do this or Q needs to do that.
No.
You know what needs to happen? These players need to play to their abilities.
Yep.
And we saw their abilities last year. How good was Vinny last year in the clutch? God, every time you needed a hit, that dude came up and got you one. How good was Salvi last year? How good was Bobby last year? You know, and that's why I go back to showing Bobby July video from a year ago. Go back and show Bobby Witt Jr. his entire month of July from a year ago and say, just go do that. Go be that guy again. Because now the pressure has built. You can see that. And the less that you experience success, the more pressure you're putting on yourself to get that success, and it's just not going to work that way. And so as we sit here at the first half of the season being complete and the second half beginning tonight, I don't think anybody can walk away from that and feel good about where the organization is right now from a record standpoint. Some good things have happened, but not enough. Not enough good things have happened for this team in the first half of the season. So we'll see what happens as we begin season number 2 tonight at Kauffman Stadium.
And that's
right?
that's a good way to think about it, right? If you want to be negative, you should be. That's fine. You can be upset. You can be angry, but it doesn't mean you need to go away and give up. They are 4 games under 500, but I get it. Think about it, a new season. This is starting. It's a new season, and they better come out with a new attitude, man.
Yeah.
Because those quotes from Vinny, that sound from Cotrero, things are going to change, going to start raking. That's all going to fall on deaf ears until you show us, and it has to start soon.
Yeah, and that's
almost July.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, that's why I have a hard time saying it's going to turn and being truly optimistic. Like, I've been on the earth long enough to realize like this. Like, I take a lot of cues from Denny Matthews in the baseball world, right? He's one of the few people that is older than me, right? Him and Ryan, and they've seen a lot of these games, and obviously Denny has seen every damn season and game that this organization has put together. And when Denny speaks, you listen, and it's usually by this time of year you know who you are. There's really not much changing over the next 81 games of who you've been for the first 81 games. And so we have to come to the realization that we're probably not going to be a playoff team this year. And I think the sooner that you can realize that, the better off you can be when it comes to making moves. Because I do believe that once we get to Monday, we get through the weekend, not a lot of business takes place on the weekends, whatever, the for sale sign probably should go up. Like, this is the weekend to have the realtor come over, right? Start taking the pictures, start kind of assessing what we have here, what our outlook is, and where we expect to kind of be in the next couple of weeks. But I think this is the weekend you invite the realtor over. She starts taking pictures. You clean up your bedroom. You fluff the pillows a little bit. You put the little crease in the pillow and set them on the couch the right way. You pick up all the stuff around the house to make it look big and open. You clean it up, and you get the great pictures, and you're starting to get ready to showcase this house. And that's what I think this weekend is about. The realtor comes in. We start looking at Seth Lugo. We start figuring out, okay, what can we get for this guy? He's got 18 pitches. Any team in baseball would love to have Seth Lugo. What can we get back from him, for him, that helps our ball club moving forward? Not just for the rest of this season, obviously, but moving forward, for the next couple of years. A year ago at this time, this is when the Tigers traded Jack Flaherty, and then they went on a run, and they made it to the postseason, and now they're arguably the best team in baseball. Yep. And they traded one of their big-time pitchers last year at this time, and they took off as an organization. Oh, we can't trade Seth Lugo, Bob. The Chiefs traded Tyreek Hill. I mean, that's my comeback to everything when they say we can't trade this guy. The other gentleman that they're talking about trading, and we brought him up weeks ago, Chris Bubich, and this comes from J.P. Morosi at MLB Network.
I don't think Bubich is going to get traded, but I will say this. The Royals have lost 4 in a row. Their pitching overall is quite good. Bubich, importantly, is under control for 1 more year at a very reasonable number, okay? So my general statement is this. There should be at least as much conversation surrounding this possibility as there was for Tarek Skubal a year ago, because Bubich is actually closer to free agency now than Skubal was at this time last year. And obviously we know Skubal stayed put. There is, of course, this alternate universe whereby the Orioles traded for Skubal, won the World Series, and Brandon Hyde is still their manager. But that is not the reality that we're dealing with right now. Bubich, for me, you look at the Royals and their lack of supporting offense in terms of offensive depth. While I believe, again, I do not think he's going to get traded. But this is something I would say put a pin in this conversation and circle back in a month. And if the Royals can get two impactful young bats, I do think it's something you would have to at least consider, given how much of a struggle it's been for them to score runs. And again, having lost 4 straight now under 500, that was non un terremoto. I just bumped the camera. I would say that it's going to be an unlikely situation, but one that we should watch.
So there they are, talking about potentially trading Chris Bubich, which we brought to your attention weeks ago and said that would be a logical guy to trade. I think Bubich and I think Lugo are your 2 biggest trade chips that you have right now, and maybe Estevez as well. He's been really good in the back of the bullpen, and that's the guy you got when you weren't able to get Santander because he took $90 million instead of the $60-some million that was offered here in Kansas City. And I wouldn't have paid $90 million for Santander either. They made the wise business decision not to overspend on a guy who's not living up to it this year so far. So that's kind of where I am on this team. I think Lugo and I think Bubich are the 2 guys you look to trade. I think those are the 2 guys you can maximize the most. Estevez maybe a little bit later on as you get closer to the trade deadline and things start to straighten itself out and teams know that they need a closer, another bullpen arm. That's another guy you could potentially trade and get something good back in return. The Royals did that a few years ago with Chapman for Reagans. And so you can make some of these big trades that truly do set your organization up to get better than you are right now. And that's what they have to explore, because I don't know if the help is coming internally. I believe it's not coming internally. Otherwise, it would have already been here. But you have an opportunity now to look around, assess where you are, realize it probably is time to sell. It's sentimental. You don't want to do it, but it's the best thing for your organization moving forward is to sell. And you place that for sale sign in your yard, and you get ready to move parts to make your team better for next year.
And that's the thing, making your team better. I think we get this connotation with selling of dumpster fire and, oh, we're screwed, rebuild, trust the process, 76ers type thing. That's not what this is. This is just, hey, it's not this year. It's clear. They tried. You mentioned internal moves. That's all happened. Internally, Bob, we're closer to Michael Massey and MJ Melendez seeing real time again rather than any other internal move. Everything's been done. At this point, it is about the future. It's about competing with Bobby Witt, getting Jack Caglione improved this year so that next year they can come in, have an offense, and still have some semblance of this elite pitching lineup that they do have right now. From the 816, I say move Vinny. We get a lot back and can move Jack to first. Might unlock him mentally from having to learn a new position on the fly. Would we get a lot for Vinny?
I don't think you get a lot for Vinny right about now.
I don't think so.
And I think that the Vinny thing is interesting because I'm going to relate it back to I want to say 2015 was the year. And I think I'm going to say it was 2015, but if it's not, somebody can correct me, and that's fine. Jeremy,
will.
Yeah, Jeremy Guthrie wasn't pitching well, right? And it was when the Royals were, doing really good, and a lot of the conversation was, oh, Guthrie needs to go. Guthrie stinks. We need to move on from Jeremy Guthrie, right? And I remember having conversations with folks in the front office at the time, and I said, what do you think about cutting Jeremy Guthrie? And they looked at me and they go, okay, we'll do that, but you're going to go tell the team that we're doing that. And I said, why? They go, because you don't understand the impact that this guy has in this locker room. And they went on to explain to me that the clubhouse, mind you, not locker room, the clubhouse, and this is good for everything, is a living, breathing organism. And if you remove something from that, it changes the whole dynamic of everything. And so while you're looking at this situation and saying, well, Jeremy Guthrie isn't pitching well, we need to get rid of him. Inside that locker room, that's the glue that held everything together. That was, say, the sounding board. That was the guy that you could rely on. That was the guy that everybody could go talk to. He had command inside that clubhouse. He was the leader of that locker room. And so if you removed him, it would have crumbled everything. That's kind of where I am with Vinny right now. I think Vinny is one of those guys inside that locker room that is a team-first guy, and we saw that yesterday. That man laid down 2 bunts when the shift was on. Vinny did everything yesterday on those 2 bunts that every one of us screams about. Just bunt it to the left side when the shift is on. And nobody ever does that. But what did Vinny do yesterday? He said, screw this. I'm tired of worrying about my stats and the hard hit rate and all this kind of stuff that my agent tells me to worry about that's going to ultimately get me paid. I want to win a damn baseball game. I want to score some runs. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm sacrificing myself to go out there for the best benefit of the team. And Vinny did that yesterday. You can't trade Vinny. That's where I look at that one. Vinny, is he the best? No. But is he that glue? Is he the spokesperson? Person? Is he the face of this team? He kind of is.
Yes.
He's that guy. And what happened last year when Vinny got hurt en route to that postseason berth, right? That team fell apart fast in the month of September. And we were lucky the Minnesota Twins fell apart even faster, and we were able to hang on and get into the postseason and win that series and then obviously lose to the Yankees. But we saw how this team changed when Vinny was traded. And so he may not be the best on the field, and he may not be the guy that you think is going to get the job done long term, but that's a guy that you want in your locker room right now. He's rowing in the right direction. He's trying to pull his teammates with him. That bunting, I can't stress enough how big a boss move that was yesterday by Vinny doing that, going, F this, man. I'm tired of losing. That was the sign for Vinny yesterday that he's fed up.
Yeah, he's got fire behind him, and he shows that in his actions, and we know that in the clubhouse, he shows that with his words vocally. They don't have a lot of guys like that right now. I think we got some of the text line, mad at Cotrero, mad at the hitting coach, all those things, right? If I was going to get upset at Cotrero for one thing, it'd be lately like I do want to see some more fire. I want to see someone get upset. I'm upset. I want to see you be upset. It seems a little wet noodle, limp noodle right now for me.
But that's his personality.
I get it. I understand.
And I'm not defending Q on anything. I don't really care how you feel versus how I'm just explaining. Like, for me, it's better to have a manager like Q than it is to have one of these up and down guys, up and down guys, up and down guys. And because you got to be steady, man. Your players need to see that you're. Look at Andy Reid. Have you ever seen Andy Reid show anger? Really? But maybe one time since he's been here with the Chiefs where you saw him pissed on the sidelines?
Yeah, it's one hand, one hand.
Yeah, if that. I mean, one of those 5 fingers filled with liquid, man. Like, right? Like, that's ultimately what it is. It comes back to. And so I just think I like that steady approach. Like, the last thing you want to do is the manager that's excited and then down and then because that's Mike Matheny. That's the roller coaster you put your players on. Tony La Russa, one of the best managers. Joe Torre, one of the best managers. You never saw emotion hardly out of any of those guys. Andy Reid, greatest football coach. Bill Belichick. You got to be steady.
Calm, even.
Because it's like when the kids were young and they would fall, we would all go, and then the kids would start crying because you reacted that way.
Yep.
So we learned real fast when the kids fall, just continue to walk and they won't cry because you didn't give them a reason to cry. They're crying because you went, oh my God!
Are you
Right?
okay?
Yeah, right. And then the kid sees that and then they react to you.
Of course.
Andy's calm on the sidelines.
We're
Patrick's,
good.
we're
We're
fine.
good.
We're fine. All right, fine. We're good.
Yeah, it's going to be okay.
So you got to have that attitude. This is not about the skipper. This is not about the hitting coach. This is about the players. We never want to hold players accountable. You're the ones making the money. You're the ones out there doing the job. Like, if we didn't do our job, they ain't fire inspector, right? They're going to come after us. If you don't do your job at work, they're not looking at your boss and going, you're not doing a good enough job. No, that you've got to take care of business. These are adults, and they need to live up to their billing and live up to who they are. And right now, the players aren't playing. I don't have the patience for the fire the manager, get rid of the hitting coach, let's fire the general manager. None of that ever works. These are the players. You loved these players last year. They were good players last year. Why aren't they good players this year? That's on them. That's not on the manager. They're not doing anything different.
All caps, 816, Dick Vermeil.
Calm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Had emotion, cried. That type of emotion's fine. He cried when he needed to cry. When things went bad or things were good, he showed his emotion. But you didn't see him screaming and yelling like a lunatic on the sidelines. I love Dick.
913 says, has Coach Reed ever had a losing record?
Yes, his last 2 years in Philly. That's why he's here.
He's saying here.
Here. No, 9-7 is
here.
the worst record that they've ever had.
And I think he's saying that to say, if Coach Reed did have that, there'd be some fire. You'd see a little bit more emotion. I don't know.
I think what Andy Reid is doing right now is the hardest thing to do in sports, and that's stay on top. Battling every day when people are battling to beat you every single day. They're rewriting the rule books to try to stop you, and you're still winning. Like, what Andy Reid is doing is just phenomenal as a head football coach.
Coach K, calm from the 913. Coach K was very calm.
Yeah, he really was. Yeah, most of the great coaches are. Bill Self
Bill
pretty
Self
calm.
can get mad, but
yeah, you have to every once in a while.
Of course.
But like in the course of a baseball game, you can't really argue calls anymore.
No, yeah.
You really can't. Like, you can't go Billy Martin on these guys.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he's yelling behind the scenes. But again, if you're a guy like Matt Quatrero, you got one of those. That's it. You've got one opportunity where you can lose your cool because it means something when the cool guy loses his cool, right?
When the guy with the calm voice raises his voice,
right.
We're like, whoa.
Yeah. Like, you got one opportunity to do that. Is it now? Is it later? Because once you play that card, it's over. You're not going to be able to do that again. You're not going to be able to have that opportunity to go back out there and yell again, because then guys will start rolling their eyes.
And sometimes, the scariest angry guy or the scariest angry monologue is the one that's not yelling.
Yeah.
It's the one that's just calm and staring right at you. And it's like, whoa, this is way scarier. So, either way, we need to fire, man.
Yeah.
We need to fire. Let's start it today.
But again, it's also from not lack of effort, right? And that's the one thing that really bothers me when people say they're not putting in the effort. These guys are trying their asses off. It's just not working right now. And that's why you have to try less. You have to try a lot less. Speaking of craziness, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Ben Roethlisberger all walk into a bar. Who's Ben having the cocktail with?
I guess Rodgers.
It sure seems like it, right?
Jeez.
Sure seems like it. This was his comment on his own podcast, Footballin' with Ben Roethlisberger. I would take Aaron Rodgers in his prime over Patrick now. Patrick Mahomes is just now entering out of his prime, I think. He'll go down as another arguable GOAT. I think Aaron in his prime is better.
It's insane.
I don't know what I have a bigger issue with. Saying Aaron Rodgers is better than Patrick Mahomes, or saying that Mahomes is entering out of his prime when he's approaching 30, which, for all intents and purposes, for the greatest quarterbacks to have ever played this game, 30 was the beginning of their prime.
Including you, Big Ben. Right. Your two best seasons happened in your 30s. What are you talking about? I do not get this, man.
Yeah.
The mental and physical ability and acumen has combined to kind of surge into the biggest, seemingly productivity it can in your 30s as a quarterback. It doesn't happen when you're 25.
No, it does not. It does not. And you enter your prime as a quarterback at 30 because now you have the life experiences of being a quarterback in the NFL and getting out there and seeing the scenarios and knowing what to do from a mental standpoint. Physically, you may not be entering your prime at 30. None of us are. But from a mental standpoint, from an experience standpoint, I mean, Patrick Mahomes is going to know so much more. And I guarantee you, we don't lose the Patriots playoff game in the AFC Championship game and probably the Bengals playoff game if we have Patrick Mahomes at 30 versus Patrick Mahomes in his early 20s. Because he made mental mistakes in that game that ultimately cost the team. At 30 and moving forward, he's not making those mistakes again. He's not. No. Because he's seen it all now. He's seen it all. He knows everything that's going on out there. Brady, Manning, Rivers, Roethlisberger, Breeze, all of these guys were dominating the league past the age of 30. So for him to say that Patrick Mahomes is out of his prime now, that's being a revisionist history, dude. That's not understanding what has gone on. It's not even understanding what happened in your own career at this point in time. But Patrick Mahomes is just beginning. He's going to take off, and he's going to have himself a hell of a next 10 years. Coming up, we're going to turn to talk about some things we're going to do for the weekend. We do that next.
Hey, it's Bobby Witt Jr., and you're listening to Fescoe and Dusty on your home for Royals baseball, 96.5 The Fan.
It's almost Andy Reid. When I landed in KC, I started doing commercials, the whole playbook. That's how I teamed up with Renner Garage Store. For nearly 70 years, Renner has been serving KC with the latest styles, top brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, and the trusted service of a family-owned team. Get your free estimate today, and if you're looking for work, Renner's hiring installers with paid training. RENNER forward and back.
RENNER, RENNER. At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling Grandma for her recipe, no-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m., big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas, the ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2025 with select plans. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 7/20/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation of single-line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Every success you've had began with a great opportunity. Now there's another one. Last aid year, University of Maryland Global Campus awarded over $21 million in scholarships to qualified students, including community college students, service members, veterans, and working adults. Now is the time to move your career forward with an online and accredited skills-based education. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
You know the national parks, but you may not know that they're supported by a strong foundation. A foundation for the future. We are the National Park Foundation. And together with your support, we are building a bold future where national parks are vibrant, protected, and welcoming. Today, tomorrow, forever. Learn more at nationalparks.org/foundation.
At QC Kinetics, we're all about keeping you in the game, helping you get lasting relief from joint pain. That's why we're excited to announce that QC Kinetics is now partnering with the National Pickleball League. So many of our satisfied patients are avid pickleball players, and they're thrilled with how we've helped them get back on the court. As lead sponsor of the National Pickleball League, we're committed to help pickleball fans of all ages with the latest, most advanced regenerative cell treatments. These treatments use your body's own healing power, revitalizing and restoring damaged joint tissue the natural way, with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. Whether you're a pickleball fanatic or enjoy golf or running or tennis, stay in the game with help from QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics, proud to promote active, pain-free living as a lead sponsor of the National Pickleball League. Call now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Hey there, Royals fans. We've got more ways to watch your boys in blue this season than ever before with FanDuel Sports Network. Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network to stream all the action, or, new this season, Royals Baseball is now available on Amazon Prime Video as an add-on subscription. You can also access FanDuel Sports Network through TV providers like DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more. Visit Royals.com/TV to learn more.
Trying to end a Friday on a fun note here on 96.5 The Fan as everybody's gearing up for the weekend. Maybe you're all taking next week off and enjoying the 4th of July holiday, whatever you got going on. Man, it is summertime and everybody should be enjoying themselves this summer. It was funny because earlier in the show we were talking about some great kind of summertime bands, and we appreciate you guys weighing in on those and, you know, filling up our timelines or our text line with the summertime bands. I love all that. I love experiencing new music. So anything that's new and good, let me know, and I'll give it a listen. Usually on Sundays when I go out for an early morning walk, I have a no-skip Sunday, and whatever song comes in, I listen to it from start to finish because we're so used to just skipping immediately that I'm like, I need new stuff. Maybe I'll experience a new song. So if I'm out walking on Saturday or Sunday, I try to do like a no-skip Saturday, no-skip Sunday where I just listen to all the songs through because there may be something you like, and you're like, damn, I really do like that song. I didn't think I would or whatever when it started, but you give yourself an opportunity to find something new because I think with songs and music, we always want something new, something for our mood and whatnot. So I thought that was a pretty good way for me to kind of experience some new stuff.
We do want something new, but then we struggle to actually go out and try and find it because we're so used to our comfortability. But
that's
a good idea.
Zone.
No skip Sunday. I like that.
That's kind of our comfort zone. That's why I think a lot of people are scared about the potential of a new dome stadium or a new baseball stadium or whatever it is. Change. People don't, necessarily like change, but change is good. Change can be great. Change can be soothing. Change can be wonderful. Change can also suck. But I mean, a lot of times, if you don't give change the opportunity, you never know what you're going to experience with all of that. So you got to give yourself the chance to look and see and explore. So the one thing that I want you to explore this weekend, because we were talking about it earlier, like if we could have 5 beverages come out of our fingers, Mac was Dr. Pepper. And that, that you're that young generation because the kids just love Dr. Pepper. Like, I mean, Dr. Pepper, I love it too. Who doesn't like a good Dr. Pepper? It's a phenomenal beverage. It's very nice. And so I said to you, you need to have a flaming Dr. Pepper. And I can't believe you're this fresh out of college and you don't know what a flaming Dr. Pepper is. You had 48-year-old geriatric over here. Give me 3 of them now, and we'll get some of these flaming Dr. Peppers. So I want you to have a flaming Dr. Pepper over the weekend because I think you will enjoy it. It's basically a shot of rum. You light it on fire, drop it in a beer, you slam it. It tastes like a Dr. Pepper.
I'm in on this. Yeah, I'm in on this. We're gonna have some people over Saturday night. Maybe I can't convince us all to have a flaming Dr. Pepper.
I think that's like a go-out drink.
This is a go-out drink. This is at a bar. We're not making these at our place. That makes sense.
I don't think so. I mean, you're lighting whiskey or rum on fire and
I
dropping
don't
it in a
want any part of
beer.
that.
Like that has to be something that you leave to the experts, right?
Once again, this is from a text line. Once again, I'm playing catch-up, but I'm sure somebody's already texted this in. You can't have a flaming Dr. Pepper anymore. They discontinued Bacardi 151. I used to drink those, and I don't know what that drink is. It's a shot of 151 with some grenadine, and you light it on fire, put your hand over and snuff the fire out, lift your hand up, sniff the fumes, and then shoot the shot. That's Michael. So he says he can't have it anymore because of the Bacardi 151.
They don't make Bacardi 151
I guess
anymore?
Not. But does that rum?
I swear to God, there's a song that says 151
rum,
pineapple juice,
Oh, yeah.
Malibu. Right? Like, that's a song.
That's by Tech 9.
Right. Tech, if you're listening, which I know you are, did they get rid of 151? And is there no substitute? Can you not have something else that substitutes for that to light it on fire to drop it into your drink? Maybe that's why you've never heard of it.
It was discontinued due to its high flammability and associated with safety risks, but I am going to bet $1 to donuts that someone else has figured out a way to get flaming duck. Come on.
I mean, we're humans.
Yeah,
This is what we do.
There's another liquor out that is it. So I'll figure I'll have some sort of flaming beverage this weekend.
All right, yeah, have a flaming Dr. Pepper for me this weekend. But what are you going to do this weekend? We're going to turn 2. What are you going to do this weekend?
Yeah, man, I've obviously moved here about a year ago. There are some friends that I just haven't gotten the chance to see that are some lifelong friends. We had our own, kind of a friend group in theater, so I'm going to see those 3 people, and we're going to go out to lunch, and then I think Saturday night I'll have some different friends over and just kind of hang out, possibly go to the pool. I mean, it's going to be another hot one. No rain, I think, in the forecast, 90 degrees, so may hit a pool up. Yeah, but just kind of hang out, listen to some music, try and be outside as much as I can.
It's hard now to be outside with how hot it is, right? You want to go in, you want to go out, you want to go in, you want to go out.
But
you want
I
to
still
get in the
feel
water.
I just feel like I'm wasting something if I'm inside. I mean, the sun's out, but it's tough.
Yeah. We got that. We got the blow up flamingo pool. I may go sit in that a little bit this weekend.
Yes.
Because kids had to have that, and that's doing well in the backyard. But for me this weekend, today I'm going to go out on the boat with Ralph and cruise around for a couple hours this afternoon, and then probably have a nice calm evening at home.
That's lovely.
And then tomorrow I think it's a surprise, so I'm not going to. I'll skip over that one. But good friend of ours, somebody that a lot of people may or may not know. But I think a lot of people in our industry probably know who this person is. Big birthday party tomorrow in the afternoon, so I'm excited about that. And then my cousin's flying into town tomorrow evening, and he's putting on a convention here in Kansas City. So we're going to meet him up at Smokehouse Barbecue and get our grub on.
Nice.
After he lands, you go to Smokehouse, you eat lunch, you eat dinner, whatever time of day it is. And you kind of just enjoy yourself and enjoy the hell out of it. But I think ultimately for this weekend, when it comes down to what we're going to do from a sports standpoint, what we're going to be kind of keeping our eyes on, this is kind of, I've been calling, Travis and Patrick's final year together, what we most likely think is going to be their final year, the senior year, right? This is Patrick and Travis's senior year, right? They're going to rule the school, Doyle rules, that kind of stuff, right? Like, have fun. This could be the senior year, though, for this Royals organization this weekend. If they go out and get swept by the Dodgers, even lose 2 out of 3 to the Los Angeles Dodgers, I think this could be the turn on Monday where we say, okay, we're now officially open for business. Yeah. And I think that's why this weekend is important. I mean, you sweep the Dodgers. Okay, now you're back a little bit, but you're still very far back. You're still under 500. You still got a lot of teams that you need to leap over. And so if the Royals are going to be a team that doesn't make the playoffs, I'd like for them to tell us that sooner rather than later, so JJ and company can truly get to work to make this team better for next year and utilizing some of these pieces that they have to trade away to get better. So next year we have the pieces that we need to take this team to the next level. So that's kind of where I'm looking at it for this weekend. This is kind of senior year for the Royals on the season, right? You go out there, get swept by the Los Angeles Dodgers, and then you're headed out to the West Coast. Best of luck getting fans to figure it out, because by the time you come back from the West Coast, it's the All-Star break. By the time the All-Star break's here, it's the start of training camp. So this is kind of the senior year, I believe anyway, for the Kansas City Royals. This is your last opportunity to really go out there, put on a show, do some good things, and show Kansas City, hey, we still got this. Don't forget about us. We're still here. But it has to happen this weekend because, like I said, this is the last weekend of June. Vacations for a lot of people are next week. West Coast for the Royals is next week. They're out there for about a week or so. Then you've got the All-Star break. Then you've got training camp. And so the way I look at it is this is it for the Royals to show people, hey, we still got it in us. You got to go out there and take care of business with the Dodgers this weekend. So have a good weekend, Mac.
You too, Bob.
Have a good weekend, everybody listening. We enjoy it. We appreciate it. We love you.
Thanks, everyone.
I'm off next week. We're off Thursday and Friday as well next week. We'll see you after the 4th of July. Let's see where the Royals are, and if we're talking football then.
Happy FriYAY.
You're listening to Fescoe and Dusty.
What the hell's wrong with your station?
On Kansas City's FM sports station, 96.5, The Fan.
Need to sell your house in Kansas City but not sure where to start? Selling a home can feel overwhelming, especially if you're facing foreclosure